Hello friends and welcome. My name's Papa and here we're playing some more Higarashi, Chapter 7, Minagoroshi, or the Massacre Arc. Before we get started into this, this game is a pretty mature theme, so I'm going to give some trigger warnings. The fact that it's called the Massacre Arc doesn't give you some indication. Here are some of the trigger warnings this game has, but not limited to. This game series has themes such as death, murder, torture, dismemberment, rape, body horror, themes of suicide. If I didn't say child abuse, I'm going to say it again anyways, child abuse. I said body horror, suicide. Any of those things against a minor, like the oldest person here is about 15 years old, and some of this happens to people as young as about 10 or 11. If any of those things is not for you, please by all means find some place that is somewhere that you'd rather be tonight. If you missed any of what I said, please either ask me to repeat it or check down below in the description where I have a list of all the trigger warnings I just said. Now, so what happened last time? So this is the first answer arc, or the first, what is really going on in this series arc. It's the third answer arc, but it's the first one that gives you answers that you were supposed to have figured out at some point. So if anyone's still trying to figure out what's happening, why people are going crazy, why the murders happen, any of that, you should probably skip this game and go back and maybe rewatch previous ones or play it yourself or just spend some time thinking about it. For those of you who are staying, we're going to get into a recap, and this will now have spoilers for any of that stuff I just said. Giving everyone a second. Still here, you've made your choice. Alright, so it starts off with kind of like floating in space with a disembodied voice. We find out that it is the collective consciousness of Rika, and we learn that Rika, and you may have seen this a little bit, Rika remembers all these different worlds. Most notably, we saw this when Keiichi remembers, and Rika's like, you remember that? Like, how can you remember that? That's impossible. So we have this knowledge that she retains knowledge of all the world lines, and all these world lines are in fact connected. In fact, they are linear in some sense. And she's using the help of Oyashiro-sama, whose real name is Hanyu, and it's might be a bit hard to see, but it's this ghostly girl with the purple hair here. Hope that's what you imagined for your demon god. Who's been using her power with Rika to go back in time and basically try to come to a point where no one dies. But her power is running out, and she only has one or two more world lines left. And they used to be able to go back pretty far. If you saw Chapter 4, they go back over a year in that one. And that's one where Rika tries to convince the young detective from the city to save them, but it doesn't work out. But now they can only go back 2 weeks, so we are less than 2 weeks before the festival. They talk about what are things that stay the same, what are things that change. Just things that stay the same are Jiro and Mio always die same way on the night of the Minagoroshi festival, same time, same bat channel. Mio always talks to someone about the contents of her scrapbooks. Oishi always talks to the person who goes crazy. The person who goes crazy changes. They don't reveal everything. They actually have a little bit of a hint of what things change and what things stay the same between the different arcs. They talk about how Rika dies in each arc. Mostly she's tracked down and killed, and she doesn't remember exactly how she dies. Like, 10-15 minutes leading up to her death. It's never clear for her, but all she basically remembers is someone essentially chloroforms her from behind and then ritualistically disembowels her while she's alive. Save for a few exceptions. There's one where she commits suicide and one where Shion kills her. So we start off, so far, I think we've been Rika basically the entire time, if not the entire time. So it starts off with Rika falling out of a tree, being like, okay, what world am I in this time? I guess I died, I'm someplace new. Hanyu appears, and we can see for the first time from Rika's point of view that Hanyu exists, and they can communicate. No one else can see her, no one else can hear her. And they share some senses, in particular the sense of taste. And Rika, despite her, will just eat stuff that she doesn't like. So Rika starts off by trying to figure out, okay, in the last world, Keiichi did something that hasn't happened before, which was he remembered stuff. So she starts off by asking him, do you remember fighting Rena on the school? Not Rena. Do you remember going up to the school roof? Which was where he fought Rena, which would be a very memorable moment to him from that last world. And he's like, nope, I have no idea how to even get up on the roof. It'd be a cool place to take a nap, though. And no one else seems to remember. So at that point, she's kind of like, well, guess that was a fluke, and we're not going to have that again. And then we're reliving the arc where this is actually the start of arc 2, where they have a game afternoon at Mion's uncle's shop. Hello, Samuses. How are you doing? Also, Samuses, let me know if anything's weird. I'm streaming from OBS. I made the transition over. I hope everything's alright. There's one thing I know that's not fixed, and I don't actually care about it, which is the fonts didn't transfer. Whatever. So like for the BRB, where's the BRB screen? There we go. In the BRB screen, like the font is different. Awful noises. Is that an actual awful noise, or are you talking about the background cicadas that you don't like? Okay, let me turn that down. How is that? That's the cicadas in the game. Actually, here, let me make this even easier for you. If we load into this, if I go to this page, you should get quiet background music. Is that at a good level? And I should switch back to, there we go. Is that at like a good level for quiet background music while I talk over it? And thank you. Okay, perfect. Thank you for helping me out with that. Alright, so where were we? So, we were recapping Games Night, or Game Afternoon, and Keiichi can tell that Rika's not having a good time, because Rika's relived this game thing many times over. She knows what's going to happen. Even though she's hoping that there will be something different, there hasn't been. So she like tells Keiichi kind of offhand, like, I can predict the future. I'm going to sit there, you're going to sit there, I'm going to play this game, you're going to play this game. And Keiichi's like, if it happens, I'll believe you. And then, of course, it does happen. So then Keiichi's like, but wait, watch this. And he just changes the game that they're going to play. And then Rika's like, he just changed something that I've seen like dozens of times before. Just because, like, I asked him to. Maybe something is different here. And then afterwards, we have the shop owner comes out and gives everyone a really fancy doll, except for Mion, because he can't have favorites who are related to him. And we have a choice point where Hanyu pulls Rika aside. It's like, hey, if Keiichi gives this doll to Rena, that causes World 2 bad end. And it gives us a choice. We can either let it happen and trust that Keiichi will do the right thing this time, or we can tell him. Turns out they're both exactly the same. I went after stream and replayed the little bit of the arc we didn't do, and confirmed it's absolutely identical, minus like the text line right after the decision. All of it's perfectly identical after that. So if you saw that, you've seen everything. And yeah, so we finish off at that point where we've avoided the bad end of Chapter 2, Watsunagashi, by giving Mion the doll. And that's where we're at. So with that, let's kick off Chapter 3. Also, what is First Try Alcove? I'll assume this is a complex Metroid thing that you did first try, like a small gap you have to get into. Okay. I'll pretend I understand. I kind of understand, but not fully.
確かにそんなことをどこかで聞いたような気もしたが、それってマジだったのか?
Okay, I'm with you so far. This world always has a lot of nice suggestions, but they're mostly out of politeness, right? Just something you laugh off and reply with, that would be nice. Those ideas generally end as jokes, so it's crazy when they turn real.
マジも大マジ。
I see. So you can use it to move faster as part of like a speedrun strat, and I guess potentially dash over things you shouldn't normally be able to. Okay.
Yoshiro おじさんも大絶賛。
You're doing a Google Translate Metroid Prime?
昨日のおもちゃ屋での部活、ゲーム中の暴れっぷりは実に見事だったからね。レナもあんな遊び方や盛り上がり方があるなんて知らなかったかな。ここだけの話ですけど、私の近くにいた子たち、ケイイチさんと同じ宅で盛り上がりたかったって悔しがってましたのよ。ケイイチは何でも楽しそうに遊ぶことに関しては天才的なのです。
No, I wasn't just playing around. I was giving it my all because I had no choice but to win. I guess we made it look like a lot of fun for the audience, though.
確かに、ケイちゃんは普段の部活においてもとにかくよく盛り上がってくれますからね。
Ah, gotcha. But you're doing a randomizer, so... Okay. So, new difference. Shion is here, and not pretending to be Mion. It's just straight up Shion. And both her and her sister are here at the same time.
監督もケイちゃんがひなみ沢ファイターズに入ってくれたらさぞや盛り上がるだろうって言ってましたし。言ってましたね。ゆうべ会合の席でも入江先生、前原くんのことをベタ褒めでしたよ。
Also, I think this is the first time we've seen Shion in this outfit. So let's see. He loses the blazer there and has like a little smaller tie. I think we might have seen her very briefly at the start of what game is that? Number 5.
ケイイチくんは自分で思ってるよりずっと人を楽しくさせる力があるんだよ。
そうかな。
おじさんだって自分の仲間が可愛いからって推薦したわけじゃないよ。
Oh, Samus, speaking of randomizers, I had a run with the Paper Mario randomizer where I may have softlocked myself and made the game impossible to beat.
ケイちゃんならこのタイミングにきっと答えられるって思ったから推薦したわけさ。
Oh, don't worry. I just started a new run because also I was testing some different things, so it was a throwaway anyways. And the one I did there, the settings were ridiculous. I basically randomized every possible thing I could, to the point where you could enter like the final dungeon right at the start, and basically everything was leading me into the final dungeon. However, there's a room in the final dungeon where you like pull a cord and it fills the room with water. Now, you're not supposed to be able to do that if you don't have the character whose ability it is to let you travel on water. And I only thought of this right as I jumped to pull the lever. I'm like, what's gonna happen now? Well, I guess I'm stuck here. And I saw someone else posted on the Discord for that, where even if you do have the partner who helps you by swimming, just to reduce some of the soft locks, they give you an item that lets you warp back to like the main hub town, and they used that, and then they saved, and then they went back in the room. And because it's filled with water, so you enter from like down here through a door, and now you're just walking on like on the bottom of an ocean, and you can't get to the top where the water is. So they themselves rendered it unbeatable as well. Yeah, I've decided a few things. One, the final dungeon should not be part of the randomizer run, unless you're trying to do like an early final boss run, which you could do. Two, don't make secret panels. There's just panels in the ground across the entire game, probably like 80 some odd panels, that usually just have a single like collectible item, and you can randomize all of those. Don't do that, because basically it means as soon as you get the ability to open those panels, you unlock like 80 new items that you have to go and individually check, because each of those could let you advance further in one of the different chapters, and it's just like, oh. But yeah, I'm at the point right now, I have two runs, one more randomized, one less randomized, and then I was thinking about trying to do a final, like an early final boss run and see how that works. That's what I'm currently running right now.
僕も同じ席にいましたですが、全然反対意見が出なかったのは驚きだったのです。
前原くんは先生が思っているよりもずっと村中で評判なんですね。沖宮界隈でも有名です。
Gotcha.
先日のひなみ沢ファイターズと沖宮タイタンズの試合でのあの助っ人ぶりはもはや現地では伝説的ですからね。
あれはすごかったですものね。
Okay, so this is already post the baseball game bit.
亀田さん目当ての記者の方々も度肝を抜かれてましたよ。
We're talking about that rigged baseball match I set up with Kamita-kun. The public did end up believing that talented pitcher walked me out of fear for my insight. Kamita-kun and I entered a strained relationship since then. I'd really rather not talk about it right now.
どうかな、ケイチ君。レナはケイチ君にはその力があると思うな。みーちゃんだけの推薦で足りないなら、レナも推薦するよ。ケイチ君ならきっと綿流し実行委員の退任を全うできる。
Minagoroshi is an annual village festival held in June. It's supposed to be the biggest event in the village, and most of the people living here gather together for it. Since this is a major event, they always organize a committee to plan out the festival a few months in advance. The festival's only 2 weeks away, and I just moved to this village. Now they want me to join
だ
that
が大体
committee?
よ、俺実行委員の仕事なんて知らないから何の役にも立てないぜ。
実行委員なんて堅苦しいのは肩書きだけだよ。ケイちゃんに満場一致でお願いしたい役はね、ズバリ叩き売りオークションの司会なんだよ。
なんだよそれ、バナナでも売らされるのか？
そこは先生から説明します。今年のお祭りでは新しい試みとしてオークション風に寄付品の叩き売りをやろうということになったのです。そこは複雑な事情があってね、町会で寄付品を集めてそれを商品にしてのみんなで参加できる何かをやり、過去の役員会でいろいろ大人の事情があって福引き抽選以外の方法で商品を分配したいってことになったんだよ。早い話が昔ばあさんが癇癪を起こしときながら引っ込みがつかなくなったことがあるわけなんです。ばあさんって自分でトラブっときながら
So how
よく後
bad
悔
is the
してますよ
Google
ね。
Translate version of Metroid Prime? Like, how much have you looked at it?
まあね。まあそんなわけで福引き以外のイベントで何か楽しく商品を山分けできないかって話になったわけよ。
It's awful.
それで出た案が寄付品の叩き売りオークションってわけ。
オークションってなんだか面白そうだね。ひょっとするとものすごく安くいいものが買えるかもしれないし、他の人が高値をつけ合うのを見てるのも楽しいしね。しかも寄付品だから元手はタダ。実行委員会もなかなかお金儲けがお上手ですわね。売り上げは全部冬の町会温泉旅行の泡麦茶代になるのです。
Galactic Emperor Prime?
古いのです。
フルデさんは泡の出る麦茶はまだまだいけません。
So remember, Rika is like the mental age of like a 200-year-old. And she likes her alcohol.
だいたい話は見えてきたが、でもよ、俺はオークションの司会なんかやったことないぜ。
でも圭一くんならきっとやり遂げられると思うな。
But yes, I am gonna potentially look into the Paper Mario Google Translate randomized version. We can randomize the text, we can randomize everything.
売り上げの1割はお小遣いになるとか言われたらものすごい頑張りそう。
まあな、実績に応じて何か得られるってならそりゃ頑張るだろうな。
逆に実績が出なかったらとんでもない罰ゲームが待ってるかもしれませんでしたよ。
ちょっと待て佐藤、なんで俺がそんなリスキーな条件を引き受けなければならないんだ。そもそも俺は依頼されてる立場だってことを忘れるなよ。俺はこう見えてもスケジュール多忙で忙しいんだぜ。そういうのはマネージャーを通してくれたまえ。
I don't know why they translated manager to agent. He literally says the word manager.
どうよケイちゃ
Well,
ん。
if the seed is boring and giving you all the good stuff early, it just means you can beat it and start a new one quicker.
もし何かご褒美がないといけないってんなら内容と条件次第では考えてもいいよ。私もケイちゃんを推薦した以上何としても引き受けてもらいたいと思ってるからね。最大限配慮するよ。
ほう、太っ腹じゃねえか。さーて何がいいかね。
罰ゲームを何にするかというのはよくあるけど、ご褒美は何がいいってのは初めてかもしれないね。言われてみればそうですわね。私たちってつくづく過酷な状況で戦ってますのね。
Brenna's right. The whole purpose of our claw activities is to escape the punishments we come up with. Even if we win, we never get a prize or reward for it.
めったにない美味しい話に圭一が困っていますのです。みーちゃんの方で何か提案できないの？何でもいいよって言われたらかえって思いつかないよね。
そうだね。あ、じゃあこんなとこでどう？エンジェルモートのデザートフェスタの入場券とか。おねえ、ケチくさいこと言わないで、どーんと3年分くらいプレゼントしちゃえばいいじゃないですか。
あら、それは豪華ではございませんの。
確かデザートフェスタのチケットってものすごい購買率で闇取引もされてるんだろ。そんなの3年分なんて本当にいいのかよ。
Got your run hit a snag there, Samus's?
もちろん成功報酬だよ。盛り上げてくれないとダメだからね。
大丈夫だよ。圭一くんならきっと大盛り上がりになる。
それについては私も同感です。というか、どんなめちゃくちゃな売り工場が飛び出すかかなり楽しみです。
たとえタコの入ってない
Well, at least you know where it is, and it's something you have to do anyways.
おいおい、さすがにタコなしたこ焼きは無理だろ。
いやいや、ケイちゃんなら見事売りかねないね。
I'm pretty sure they're referencing in that same world line he did do something like that where he gets people to come to some stand to eat
小麦
something.
粉の味が素朴でヘルシーとか言いそう。
お前ら俺をおだててるのかバカにしてるのか微妙だぞ。
どうですか、前原くん。先生もあなたならきっとうまく盛り上げてくれると思います。
Jay Sensei was also on the committee. She must have backed up me on suggestion. She brought up my name at their last meeting.
僕も圭一の口先マジックが見たいのですよ。見た
バナナの叩き売りだってさ、その売り工場の切符の良さに感服して買わせるわけだしね。
前原圭一ワンマンショーでございましたよ。
Now, even though we haven't seen this exact bit in any of the previous arcs, it's very possible that Rika has seen it, and it's just something that they didn't have in the previous games, because they do want to keep new stuff for the later games, just so that's, you know, it's not repeating the same stuff over and over again.
おいおい、俺はまだ引き受けると言った覚えはないぞ。
大丈夫だよ。圭一くんならできるよ。
ちぇ、レナめ、他人事だと思って気楽に言いやがって。
はお、そんなつもりじゃないのに。
Principal suddenly opened his mouth.
どうかね、前原君。わしも君ならやれると思うぞ。
I love how they never have art for the principal. Just never. He never had art.
男なら一つ、みんなの期待に応えてみんかね。
If I had to, I'm sure I could do it. Miona's made me do so many different things for the club, and I've learned a lot from that. Besides, this would be the first time I can get a reward without having to worry about punishment. It should be fun, too. It's just the first time so many people were counting on me like this. To be honest, it made me pretty happy. Still, I was worried about getting dragged into something that required a lot of work. I couldn't erase that thought from my mind. If I was in Hinamizawa, the people in this village would never do anything to betray me. Or so he thought. They genuinely believed that it would do a lot to liven up the festival if I became the host of their auction. I've only been here for a short period of time, but I know that the people here are honest and kind.
よっしゃ、俺も男だぜ。そこまで言われちゃ引き受けないわけにはいかないな。見てろよ、俺がやるからにはドカンと盛り上げてやるぜ。エンジェルモートのチケットを忘れるなよ。3年どころか10年分くらい進呈したくなるくらいに盛り上げてやるぜ。
よく言ってくれた、ケイちゃん。
Everyone gave me a round of applause. How many times had this happened in my life? Not once. This was the first time I'd ever been applauded.
しかしよ、よく俺みたいな若造を推薦して町会の人が納得してくれたよな。
There are lots of old people on the village committee. I'm a young guy who only just moved here. Known for a while that Mion has a lot of influence locally, but I couldn't believe that everyone in the committee would just accept it like that.
まあ、 基本的には頭の固い年寄り連中ばっかりですけどね。時代も徐々に変わり始めてるってことです。ひなみ沢もダム戦争に打ち勝って、これからは新しい時代を築き、どんどん栄えさせていかなくちゃならない。だから若者歓迎、よそ者飛び入り大歓迎って風にどんどん意識改革をしていかなくちゃならないんだよ。
圭一は若くてよそ者で、しかも受けがいいので、まさにぴったりなのですよ。
受けがいいね。どうして俺の知名度がそんなに高いのか不思議でならねえぜ。
多分みーちゃんの罰ゲームと密接な関係があると思うかな。
やっぱりそれか
じゃあこれで決まりですね。先生の方から今夜前原くんのご両親に電話でお話ししますので、一応前原くんの方からもご両親にこの度の件を話しておいてください。
I'm sure my parents will have no problem with it. They won't have any objections to raise, at least. They might ask me why my name was brought up, though. Chie-sensei and the principal went back to the teacher's office after the discussion ended. We were in the middle of lunch break at the moment. Chie-sensei and the principal had come along together. Mion scared me by saying that they all had something to talk to me about. Stomach wasn't digesting my lunch particularly well.
前原さん、聞いてましたよ。すごいじゃないですか。町会から推薦を受けるなんてすごい名誉ですよ。
おう、富田君に岡村君か。そんな名誉なら君らに譲ってもいいぞ。
無理ですよ。前原さんじゃなくちゃ務まらないです。
Realized the whole class was talking about me. They were saying how fun Minagoroshi was going to be and how high their expectations were for it. I might have taken on a huge responsibility. I needed to do my best to succeed at it.
そうだ忘れてた。うちのバッチャがね、いっぱいおはぎを作ったんだよ。学校のみんなにも食べてもらえって持ってこさせられたんだっけ。
Yen clapped her hands as she remembered and took out a box from her bag. She opened the lid, letting us see a bunch of ohagi neatly packed inside.
あらたくさん入っていますのね。クラス全員に食べていただけそうなくらいありますわよ。はあ、かわいい、おいしそう。
バッチャはおはぎを作るのが大好きなんですよ。どういうわけか。
宗平が大好きだったのですよ。
ああ、じっちゃが好きだったらしいね。山盛り食べたらしいよ。
じゃあみーちゃんのおばあちゃんにとっては、おはぎは亡くなったおじいちゃんを思い出す大切なものなんだね。
そうなの？じっちゃが好きなのって缶詰だと思ってました。シオンは缶詰がダメなんだよね。
あ、そうなの？どうして？
For anyone who is like me wondering what ohagi is, it's also called bodamochi. It is a confection made with glutinous rice, sweet rice, in a ratio of 7-3, or only glutinous rice, and red bean paste. They're made by soaking the rice for approximately 1 hour. The rice is then cooked, and a thick bean paste is hand-packed around preformed balls of rice. It's typically a spring or autumn snack, or sacred food offering.
あの独特の鉄臭さがどうも苦手で。
あら、人に嫌がるかぼちゃを無理やり食べさせて好き嫌いはいけないとか言ってる人が随分な話でございますのね。
ふふん、実はねちょっとね、人が嫌がることを言うなんて最低ですよ。
なんだかわからんが、 ミオンが珍しく握ったシオンの弱みらしいな。面白いから普段の恨みを晴らせ。
And there's something very, very minute here that might have been lost if you weren't looking at it or didn't recall. The end of chapter 5, which is the one with Shion, and it goes back the 1 year to see Satoshi and the issues he has, and then him being killed off, demoned away. At the very end, Shion remembers that Satoshi told her, "Take care of my sister." And just there we saw that she's trying to do that because she's forcing Sadako to eat her vegetables. It's a very small thing, but it's proof that that part, at least, she's remembered and she's taking care of it, which probably right there is enough to say that we're also avoiding endings 2 and 5.
ほれほれ。
The reason why Shion doesn't like canned food must have been something pretty funny. The two sisters battled for a while. The machine gun knee kicks Mion launched from close quarters weren't bad. I don't think she expected Shion to land a capture suplex off it. Guess Shion is the stronger of the two siblings.
お姉に言われるくらいなら自分で言います。ですね、葛西っていうたちの悪い親父がいましてね。そいつがですね、純粋無垢だった幼い私にですね、缶詰の中にはたまに人間の肉が混じっているとか、とんでもないことを吹き込みやがったせい。
都市伝説にたまにそういうのがあるね。
あるある。俺たちのとこでも牛丼の肉は実は犬の肉だとか、ハンバーガーにはミミズの肉が混じってるとか聞いたことあるぜ。
そんな話がありますの？そんなの聞いてしまったら、もう牛丼もハンバーガーも食べられなくなりますわね。
そうなんですよ、さとこ。私はトラウマを負わされた犠牲者なんです。
同情はしますけど、かぼちゃフルコースの恨みと相殺するにはまだだいぶ足りませんわね。さとこは根に持ちすぎなのですよ。僕は美味しくてペロリだったのです。
なんだかよ、そんな話をしてるとさ、このミオンのおはぎにも何か妙なものが混じってそうな気がしてくるよな。
ほう、確かにこの私が持ってきたおはぎだもんね。中に何の細工もないってのは確かに不用心だよね。
The hoggy that Mion brought? Consider that it's only natural to suspect that she probably did something to them. So, this is also, I think this is also supposed to be the thing that Rena was talking about, where the drug that made her go crazy, that gave her the alien virus, was inside this. What's going on? I felt like I was forgetting something. I didn't remember anything that I was forgetting. Like one of those deja vu moments. Never been in this situation, but my mind was telling me that I'd been there before.
どうしたのですか、ケイチ?
So there's a couple situations that this could match up with. One, the one I was just talking about, where Rika felt like this had the alien virus in it. Second one is, in the first arc, he believed that in an onigiri, a rice ball, that Mion and Ren had put sewing needles in it. And Rika's watching to see, because she's at like it's on the tip of my brain. She's waiting to see if he remembers any of those world lines.
いや、なんでもないよ。前にもミオンにおはぎをもらったことがあったような気がしたんだけど、これが初めてだよな。
そうなの？みーちゃん。
いや、これが初めてだと思うな。何かの勘違いじゃない？
私の記憶でも、ミオンさんが学校におはぎを持ってきたのは、今年はこれが初めてのはずでしたよ。
And now Rika's thinking, because he has it, it's at the edge of his memory, but he doesn't quite have it yet.
はあはあ、わかった。おじさんが持ってきたおはぎだもんだから、何か罠があると思って警戒してるんでしょう。そこは威張るとこじゃなくて、日頃のお姉の底を反省すべきとこだと思いますけど。
Oh no.
そうだよな。同じおはぎでも、レナとかが作ったおはぎなら、絶対そんな風には思わない。レナっておはぎ作るの、何気に上手なんだよな。小さいけど、丁寧で。
レナ、おはぎなんて作ったことないよ。
What? What was I saying? Why did I say that Rena had made ohagi before? Why would I know that Rena makes her ohagi small but neatly? I had no idea where that memory was coming from. I could only assume that it was an error in my brain. Mion was saying this was her first time bringing ohagi to class. I tilted my head in confusion. Everyone started reaching inside the box. Rena took one out for me and put it on the lid. I stared at it closely. What was I so concerned about? Mion said I was probably concerned that she did something to the ohaki, but it wasn't quite that. I really didn't know how to explain it. I felt like I was forgetting something important. I had forgotten something important. All I had was the obligation to remember it. In front of me was nothing but a single ohagi that came from Mion's house. I was frustrated. I really couldn't think of anything. There's no way I could remember it, because I didn't know anything.
ケイチ、さっきからおはぎをじっと見て、どうしましたのですか？
いや、デジャブだっけ？既視感だっけ？ほら、たまにないか？初めて見るものなのにさ、過去にすでに見ていたように感じるときって。
ケイチは、過去にもミオンにおはぎをもらったように感じるのですか？
でも気のせいだよな。ミオン自身そんなことは覚えがないって言ってるしさ。
ケイチ、ありもしない記憶なんてありませんです。もしケイチが覚えているのなら、それは本当にあったことなのですよ。
Rika-chan told me something strange. I didn't usually take her random comments seriously, but ever since I saw her making those predictions in the toy store, I've been curious about her special powers. I felt like she was telling me something deep.
大予言のリカちゃまが言うと、
And she is. She's saying if you can remember it, it happened. It happened to you. She's trying to lead him to the right answer, to what she wants, which is for him to remember.
それってつまり、輪廻転生とかそういう話なんだろ？
僕は宗教のことはよくわかりませんです。ただ、僕が言いたいのは、ケイチが知っていることなら、それはあったことなのです。だからそれを思い出してほしい。気のせいだと片付けないで記憶としてほしい。
So she's trying to force him here to remember. She's trying to prod him
僕が
deeper.
何を言っているのか、わかりますですか？
ん？
I was a little surprised by how serious she sounded. I always thought Rika was just an innocent girl who fooled around all the time saying things like meep and nipa. All of a sudden she seemed like a totally different girl. Was I supposed to take it as a joke? A serious look in her face told me it wasn't the time for
リカち
jokes
ゃんが
though.
そう言うなら、じゃあ俺は別の世界とかでミオンにおはぎをもらったことがあるんだろうな。
バカにしませんから、全部話してください。どこでどうして、なぜミーにおはぎをもらうのですか？
いつどこでどうしてなんて具体的に聞かれれば聞かれるほど、やっぱり妄想だったんだなって思っちゃうよ。寝ぼけて見た夢なのかもしれないな。
夢でもいいのです。もっと覚えてるはずなのです。話してください。
What was up with her? She seemed so curious about it. I didn't think the story was that interesting. Her asking so much started making me feel uncomfortable. Still, something told me I needed to talk to Rika-chan about everything I could. Maybe she could predict my future by reading my dreams? I should tell her everything then. Or else she's the shrine maiden for Oyashiro-sama.
俺は多分、学校を休んだんだよ。風邪なんだと思う。
My memory was scattered all over my brain like powder. Okay, so he's going the route of the first arc, of Onikakushi. I could see myself standing in front of the door. Mion was there, and someone else was standing there too. Think it was Rena?
それでミオンのやつ、お見舞いのおはぎだって言って持ってくるんだよ。今日言ってるのと同じで、おばあちゃんが作ったって言ってた気がする。
それで？
うん。それで、そのおはぎを食べるんだよ。二人を返した後に。それでさ、おはぎの中から、ここから先は間違いない。漫画の受け売りだよ。多分、昔読んだ漫画のエピソードと記憶が混同してるんだ。そんなことがあるわけない。
圭一、話を続けるのです。おはぎを食べて、中から？
いや、俺が小学校の頃に読んだ怖い漫画にさ、ハンバーグの中に裁縫針が混ぜられているっていう話があったんだよ。シオンもさっき言ってたろ？小さい頃に怖がらされるとトラウマになって残るっていうやつだよ。
I didn't remember much about that comic. I think it was about this girl who had an accident and held a grudge against the person who caused the injury on her face. It was a really cheap plot now that I think about it. Since I was still a little kid, that comic really scared me. One chapter, the girl casts a curse on the guy's food. He eats a burger with sewing needles inside it, and he goes, "Gah!" Something like that. Still freaked me out. The image was so grotesque and shocking to me. That grew into a kind of trauma, and for a while I searched for sewing needles in my food every time I ate something. I couldn't eat burgers for a while for that reason. But my parents got concerned, and my hunger overcame the trauma. Eventually, that experience disappeared into the flow of time.
今でもさ、ちょっとでも怪しいシチュエーションがあると、針が混じってるかもしれないなって考えちゃうんだよ。もちろん、ちょっと考えるだけだぜ。みんなの弁当をつっつくとき、いちいち中身を改めてたら失礼だもんな。
Just take really small
針を
bites.
混ぜるなんて危ないいたずらなんて絶対するわけがないって思うから、そんなくだらないトラウマなんか気にしないで食べてるんだよ。
でも、今でもちょっと怖いのですね。
未だに忘れられないってことは、今でも心の中にはちょっと残ってるのかもな。
では、そのミーのおはぎからは、出てきたのですね。裁縫針が。
ああ、出てきた。
Inside that ohagi, there was a needle, just as I feared. Why was I telling her something that was just my imagination? Mion and Rena came to see me when I took a day off from school while I was sick? That never happened, so obviously my brain was just making it up. I spoke to Rika-chan because she said she wouldn't make fun of me.
圭一は、目の前にあるこのおはぎにも、針が混じっているように感じて、怖いですか？だから、さっきから手をつけられない？
I realized that Mion and Rena were also looking at me. They were wondering why I was staring at the ohagi without eating it.
ケイちゃん、おはぎ嫌いだった？嫌いだったなら無理しなくても。
Mion was assuming that I didn't like ohagi. Felt bad for forcing me to eat something I didn't like. In turn, I felt guilty seeing the sad expression on her face.
お姉のおはぎなんで、中に何か妙なものが仕込まれてるって疑ってるんですよ。
I immediately denied Shion's remark. No one else would understand what I'm saying. Even I didn't know.
はっきり断言できるぜ。ここにあるミオンのおはぎには、針なんて絶対に入っていねえ。
針？そんなのなんでおじさんが入れるわけ？
当たり
If
前
I
だよな。
remember correctly, Mion does put something special in the ohagi in the first chapter, but it's hot sauce or something like that. Something that would just make it taste bad.
ミオンは確かに おとなしくお見舞いを持ってくるようなやつじゃない。タバスコを入れるとかそういう冗談はやるかもしれないが、間違っても針なんて混ぜない。シャレになることとならないことのけじめははっきりつけてる。だからそんなことは絶対にありえない。
I grabbed the ohagi with my hand. As I brought it in front of my mouth, I felt the need to check it, just in case. I told myself clearly, "Hey, you wimp. I need to stop being scared of that stupid comic book." And brought these ohagi to treat everyone in the class. There's no way she put needles inside of these. I forced that stupid memory out of my brain and munched on the ohagi.
うめえじゃねえかよ。
うまくて当然。針なんか入ってなかったでしょ。
そりゃそうだよな。本当にすまん。自分でもくだらないトラウマにずっと縛られてたって呆れるぜ。
My head stopped pounding and I felt relieved. The next moment I got the urge to say something to Mion. It wasn't the right thing to say, but I just felt like I had to
お
say
い
it.
ミオ、
何？
おはぎうまかったぜ。
は？大きなカバンを担いできた甲斐があったよ。
I didn't know why I wanted to tell her again that the ohagi was delicious. I was glad I'd said that to her. Finally released from that odd feeling. I'm pretty sure in the first game, he comments to himself, if only I had just eaten it and told her it was delicious, none of this would have happened. So, we've now avoided the first chapter, the second chapter, and the fifth chapter. The fourth chapter has already happened in the past. It's like happened several years prior. So we don't know the state of that right now. I think we just assume it happened. So what are we left with? We're left with chapter 3. And chapter 6, the one that just happened with Rena on the roof. Which could still be in play because she did eat the ohagi.
さとこもケイちゃんを見習ってかぼちゃをガブリといきましょう。
What do you just randomly have
よ
squash?
く煮込んでありますから柔らかいですよ。シオンさんのお弁当は何を食べてもかぼちゃが出てくるんですもの。私がトラウマになりましたよ。
しーちゃんはさとこちゃんのかぼちゃ嫌いを直すのに頑張ってるんだね。
シオンも熱心だよね。ま、将来の妹のつもりなのかね。
By the time I finished eating my ohagi, we'd returned to our usual fun lunchtime.
ケイチ、もしもですよ。
うん。もしもなんだよ。
本当に食べ物から裁縫針が出てきたらどうしますか？
そんなことあるわけないね。リカちゃん、脅そうったって無駄だぜ。
ケイチ、それでも出てくることがもしもあったなら。
Rika-chan looked at me with a serious face as I joked around. It's gotten into her
すごい
lately.
ぜ。そんなことは絶対ありえないし、信じない。
I just overcome my stupid trauma after all that. So I made that firm statement.
わかりましたです。ケイチ、しつこくてごめんなさいなのです。もしも針が出てきたら、それはきっとケイチの勘違いなのですよ。ミーが混ぜたなんて絶対に思わないであげてくださいなのです。
ミオンを疑うなってことなんだろ。ああ、当然だぜ。俺は絶対に仲間を疑わないぞ。
I raised my fist in the air. Rika-chan finally looked happy. She smiled as if she was relieved by my words. She probably was. Okay, so we went home and now we're at the shrine to meet the committee. The items donated for the auction were gathered at the Furude Shrine.
いろいろとあるな。お中元のタオルセットとか使い古した家具あたりまでは想像してたが、何気に結構いろいろあるじゃねえかよ。
すごいね。テレビや冷蔵庫まである。それにこれまだ新品同然だね。
驚いたでしょう。その雑記関係のお店から余り物とか店頭展示品とか売り物にはならないけどまだまだ新品同然のものをいろいろと供出してもらったわけよ。
Game, you okay? Game?
片遅れ品とかをあまり気にしないならちょっとは立派な
I
もんで
lost
し
my whole
ょ。
computer that spiked for a second. Okay, what's using up my disk? Of course, as soon as I go check, it's nothing, huh? Okay, computer, I guess you win this round. Dang it, Samus, what did you do to my
日焼け
disc?
した新製品というシールがなんだか哀愁を誘いますわね。
いやいや、サトコ。そういうのが逆にポイント高いんだぞ。他人の使用済みの道具よりは、多少すすけてても未使用の方が気持ちよく使えるってもんだ。
みー、最近の若者は潔癖なのです。私はあんまりそういうの気にしないから、安ければこういうのもいいかな。
レナさんはさっきから家具類に興味があるみたいですね。一人暮らしでも考えてるんですか？
あ、うんうん。お父さんとお家の模様替えをしようって話になってるの。
Okay, we have another difference. In the last one, her dad surprised her by redecorating the living room. In this one, they're talking about it and working on it together.
でもちゃんとした家具屋さんで買おうとすると高いから、こういうリサイクル品を探してたの。
And we know that the reason why he did it was because of the lady who's trying to con him out of all the money who Rena kills.
模様替えって家具まで変えちゃうんですの？ずいぶん大掛かりですのね。うちのお父さんね、つい最近やっと就職したの。だから新生活のための心機一転
And
っ
her
てこと
father
で
doesn't find the
大掛
job
かりに行きたい
until
の。
after Rena's killed both of them, I'm pretty sure.
レナのお父さんは就職したのですか？
Rika-chan asked her. I was thinking the same thing. Did that mean Rena's father was unemployed until recently?
うん。お母さんと別れてから丸々1年就職しようとしなかった。レナも怒ってたんだよ。ちゃんと働きなさいって。
Rena explained that with her usual smiles. It took me a moment to realize how serious it was. What she said was true. Her parents were divorced, and she wasn't living in a very good family environment. Rena talked about it like it was nothing.
お母さんとお父さんが別れたんですの？うん。前に住んでた町でね、離婚しちゃったの。それでお父さんとレナはひなみ沢に戻ってきたんだけどね。お父さん、離婚のショックからずっと立ち直れなくて、ずっと寝たり、ぼーっとしたり、遊んだりしてるだけだった。
離婚も失恋も相手を愛した分だけ傷も深まります。その落ち込みの深さは決して悪いものじゃないと私は思いますけど。
そんなロマンチックな話ならいいんだけど、それでお父さん、いつの間にやら悪いお店に入り浸っていることが分かっちゃったの。ある日預金通帳を見てひどい金遣いにびっくり。
レナのお母さんはさ、結構有名なデザイナーさんだったらしくてさ、相当稼いでたらしいんだよね。そのおかげでだいぶたくさんの慰謝料をもらっ
Yes,
て
I'm
た
sure
ら
that's
しい。
what everyone wants you to tell them, Mion. Let
そ
Rena
のせ
tell
い
the
で
story.
お父さんは働かなくても生活できちゃったんだよね。それが 立ち直りを遅れさせちゃった原因の一つかもしれない。
それは一理あるな。お金に余裕がなかったら働かざるを得ない。そうすりゃ忙しくなって落ち込んでる暇なんかなくなるもんな。
朝起きて登校や出勤をして夕方に帰ってきて食事して寝るっていう当たり前の生活習慣は乱れると結構堕落するもんです。私も学園から抜け出してきた後、しばらく無職な生活をしてたことありますからよくわかります。
お家に引きこもって一人でうじうじしているのが一番いけませんです。そうだね、リカちゃんの言う通りだったんだよ。だからレナね、お父さんときっぱり話をしたの。家長としての責任とか親としての自立とか、そういう話を互いに正座しながら一晩
レナって普段はチャラけてるけど、ここ一番ではきっちりしてるからな。親が相手でもきっちりってのはさすがだぜ。
そんなことないよ。レナも最初はショックだったよ。だってお父さん、なんだか知らない女の人に貢いでるっぽかったんだもん。娘としてはショックだよ。それでレナはどうしたのですか？一人で悩んでるうちは全然ダメ。悪いことばかり考えちゃって。だからみーちゃんに打ち明けて
Okay,
相談してみたの。
World 6 avoided. Because Rena trusted her friends and talked to Mion about it.
私は話を聞いて相槌を打っただけだよ。レナが自分で考
So
え
the
を
only
きっち
world
り
we've
整理
yet
して
to avoid is
父親とちゃんと
3.
話をするべきだって結論したんだよ。
And we're not including 4, because that happened years in the past.
相談なんてとんでもない。
いや、そういうのは大事だろ。人に話すことで悩みってのは結構冷静に考えられるもんだしな。
そういうもんですかね。
What makes no sense, Samus.
相談する程度で解決する悩みならその程度だったってことじゃないんですか？
そんなことないよ、しーちゃん。私もみーちゃんと話をするまでは相手の女の人を闇討ちしようとか物騒なことしか思いつかなかったもん。
This game.
でもよくよく考えてみればそんなの全然最善の解決策じゃ
But
ない。
Samus says we're just trying to avoid the bad ending. Just think of it as like Steins Gate, except you didn't know there's time travel until 3/4 of the way in.
まず話し合うことから始めないとね。それでレナは話し合ってどうしたのですか？
And Rika again is pressing to make sure that the events of Chapter 6 aren't going to happen again.
お父さんがグダグダしてるのはお金のせいだってことになってね。口座を別の銀行に移し替えて通帳と印鑑はレナが預かることになった。だからお父さんは毎月私からお小遣いをもらってるんだよ。なんだかレナさんのお家は親と子が逆転してしまってますわね。
Everyone else laughed along with Sadako. Wasn't sure if I should laugh, but I saw Rena laughing too.
結局さ、むやみやたらな大金がレナのお父さんを堕落させてたわけさ。金銭感覚が戻れば変なお店にも行かなくなるし、ちゃんと働かなくちゃいけないって気にもなるからね。
でもあれはいいタイミングだった。お父さん、知らない女の人のマンションの頭金を払おうとしている矢先だったの。危ないところだった。
レナが笑顔で話す割にはよくよく聞いてみると随分ヘビーな話だな。一歩間違えば家庭崩壊だったんだよな。
そうだね。もしあの時私がみーちゃんに相談しなくてうじうじと今日を迎えていたら今頃きっとその女の人を殺そうなんて考えていたかもしれない。
Everyone laughed at hearing such a dangerous thing come out of Rena's mouth. Rena laughed too. I saw something serious in her eyes. It was probably true. She once thought about murdering that lady. She seduced Rena's father so she could get money out of him. Knowing how short-tempered I am, I might do the same if that happened to me. I think she made the right decision in talking to Mion instead of being irrational.
偉いよな。家族の問題なんて恥ずかしくてなかなか話せるもんじゃないぜ。
そうだよね。みーちゃんに打ち明けようと踏ん切りをつけるにはレナもちょっと時間が必要だった。決め手になったのは夢なの。夢ですか？うん。あの頃は布団の中でいつも一人悩んでた。だからきっと夢の中でまで私は悩んでたんだと思うの。
I assume this is now Rena speaking. In my dream, I thought about what would happen to me if I didn't do anything. I don't know if what I saw was my imagination or a prediction of the future.
夢の中の未来では、お父さんは
Rena
そ
speaking.
の知らない女の人ともっともっと仲良くなってて、とうとうお家にまで連れ込むようになってるの。
My dad and I don't smoke, but there was an ashtray in our living room. The futon in our guest room was now hers. In the bathroom there was a toothbrush and shampoo I'd never choose to buy. It was an unusual sight.
それはとても嫌な、いえ、辛いシチュエーションですわね。
Sadako never told me, but I'd heard that she also lost her parents. Heard that she went through tough times when she was taken in by her aunt and uncle. Someone told me about that once. Sadako seemed to understand Rena's pain very well. In fact, you can see it in her eyes that she's reliving the trauma of having someone unwanted being part of your house.
うん。それはとても辛いシチュエーション。私は家に居場所がなくなって、だんだんと追い詰められていくの。それで、ちょっとした些細なきっかけで、私はその女を殺してしまう。
夢にしては嫌に生々しい展開ですね。それで？
そしたらもう、私は人殺しなんだよね。誰にも殺しのことを知られたくないって、怯えて、怖がって、誰も毎日毎日を、死体を埋めた場所で過ごすの。その場を離れたら、誰かに死体を見つけられちゃうような気がして、いつまでも、いつまでも。
嫌な未来だな。夢の中だけで済んでよかったと思うぜ。
あれは、夢だったのかな？私はね、あれはきっと、そのまま何もしないでいたら、きっと迎えた未来なんじゃないかなって思うの。だから翌朝目が覚めた時、とても怖くて、震えが止まらなかった。私とお父さんの家なのに、知らない香水の匂いがするような気さえした。そしてその夢が現実になるのが、来年なのか来月な、そこまで追い詰められたら、もうみーちゃんに打ち明けるのにためらいはなかったね。
レナがものすごい神妙な顔で内緒の相談があるなんて言ってきた時は、おじさんはてっきり変な検査薬で陽性でも出ちゃったんじゃないかと真面目に思ったよ。まあ実際今だから笑い話だけど、当時は本当に笑えなかったね。
みーちゃんは本当に頼りになったよ。落ち着いて私の話を聞いてくれて、現実的な解決の糸口を探ってくれた。それで、やっぱり親子でちゃんと話さないとダメだっていう当たり前の到達点にたどり着いたってわけ。それは、夢ではなかったかもしれませんですよ。
And Rika, who's been here listening the whole time, now realizing it's not just Keiichi, but Rena as well, is having these dreams, deja vu, of past lives.
そうだね。ただの夢じゃなかったのかもしれないね。
もしその夢を見なかったら、レナはミオンに打ち明けなかった可能性もあるもんな。レナの人生を決めた重要な夢だぜ。
夢か。あんたも夢を見るんだ。へえ。
Shion said something in a small voice. Only Mion picked up on what it was. I don't know what she said, but based on Mion's reaction, she must have said something serious. By the way, Shion usually went to school in Okonomiya. However, she'd been coming to the school in Hinamizawa lately. I didn't know why she chose to come this far. She seemed to be having fun taking care of Sadako. I had no idea what brought Shion and Sadako together. Wait, weren't they on bad terms once? Huh? Is that true? Are they always that close, or not?
だから思ったの。人と相談するのはとても大事。
We'll have fun in a normal way. We'll laugh together in a normal way. We'll fall in love in a normal way. We won't doubt each other. We'll trust each other.
仲間はただの遊び友達じゃない。本当に大切なことを打ち明けられる重要な存在なんだって。
This line right here was a big stumbling point for her
そんな当たり前のことに
in the last chapter, where she was insisting that being friends meant you couldn't keep secrets, and yet she was the one who refused to talk in the first place.
そうだな。だとしたらレナにとっては親子の問題を解決しただけでなく仲間の重要さにも気づけ。
Also, I think this background music is a new song that we haven't heard
だ
before.
から私も誰かが悩みを持ったら相談に乗りたいし助けたい。絶対に力になりたい。だから私が打ち明けるに足る仲間だと信じてほしい。とても大切なことをレナが言っていますです。
Rika-chan is right. We all nodded at her without joking around. A moment later, we heard someone locking the door. We were all surprised. That person didn't mean to lock the door. He must have locked it by accident, not knowing it was already open. She turned the knob, thinking that it was now unlocked.
誰か中におった？
The lady knocked on the door, and I could hear several other people outside the door.
あー、ごめんなさい。今開けます。
Mion replied in a loud voice and walked toward the door. I heard her greeting the ladies from the town council.
手を貸してくれる？
なんだなんだ、どうした？
I immediately saw why Mion called us over. People from the village committee had brought another donation. An old cupboard. We all helped carry it inside the room. As I walked through the door, I realized that Higarashi was starting to cry, taking over from the cicadas. If you didn't realize that, that transitioned partway through when Rena was talking.
もうみんながあんたしか適任がいないんって太鼓判を押すんよ。だからおばさん、前原くんの司会が楽しみで。
Probably around the time that she started talking about murder.
あ、いやせいぜい頑張りますので、あまり期待しないでくれると嬉しいです。
そんなこと言っちゃって。今日ここに来たのも売り物を吟味して売り文句を考えておきたいからなんですよ。当日は期待しましょう。
したら叩き売りはちゃんと来ないかんね。
The other ladies smiled and told me that they were looking forward to it. It hadn't been that long since I moved to this village, but even these people offered me a position of huge responsibility during the festival. So you could say that they've accepted me as a member of this village. I caused so much trouble where I lived before that I couldn't even go outside. They're accepting me as a member of the village. I was so happy. I felt bad that I still hadn't learned all their names, so I was going to do my best to entertain the villagers who were supporting me.
ちゃんはどうする？まだ残るんかいね。
ああ、いや、もう私たちも帰ります。もういいよね、ケイちゃん。
まあ、雰囲気さえつかめりゃ、あとは出たとこ勝負だ。なるようになるだろう。
綿流しには興味ないんだけど、ケイちゃんの司会は見たいな。私も来ようかな。
シオンさんもぜひいらっしゃいませ。みんなで一緒に騒ぐのは楽しいですわよ。
私は反対。シオンは沖宮に住んでるんだから、沖宮の祭りにでも行っちゃえ。
レナはシーちゃんが来るの賛成。シーちゃんが来るとミーちゃんが面白くなる。 では多数決により C の参加は決定なのですよ。
というわけです、お姉。当日は私のせいでお姉の地味っぷりが露呈しちゃうかもしれませんけど、まあ仲良くしてくださいね。シオン嫌い、シオン嫌い、シオン嫌い。
Whenever Mion says, I know that they're actually close. The more Mion tries to refuse her, the more it was obvious how close they really were.
じゃあでよ。忘れ物とかない？明かり消すよ。
Made sure that we didn't leave anything inside and left the room. I looked around the shrine grounds while Mion locked the door. This big place will be filled up with people on the day of the Minagoroshi.
このだだっ広い境内がお祭り一色になるんだよな。なんだか全然想像がつかないぜ。すっげえ楽しみだ。
模擬店とかがいっぱい並んで人もものすごいたくさん来るんだよ。きっと圭一くんもびっくりするかな年に一度なんてケチなことを言わず季節のたびにやってくれてもいいんですのにね。
そういや、季節の旅に来る人はいたね。はい、そんな人いましたっけ？
あ、それは俺もわかるぞ。この間会ったカメラマン風の人だろ。名前はなんて言ったっけ？
圭一は富武を知っていますのですか？
そうそう、富武さんだったな。いや、先日の帰り道で会ってさ、ミオンとレナに教えてもらっただけだよ。妙にたくましい体つきの割に腰の低い感じのおっさん。季節の旅にひなみ沢に来てる熱心な旅行写真家なんだろ。
自称でございますけどね。
あの人が来ると今年ももう綿流しだなーって気がするよ。それで綿流しが終わると本格的に夏が始まるんだよね。
そうだね。でも今年は暑くなるのが早いからもうセミが鳴いてるけどね。異常気象とかテレビで言ってますわね。温暖化がどうしたこうしたとよく聞きますわ。
暑い夏大いに結構じゃねえか。夏が涼しかったらなんだかつまらないぞ。
You think you made a mistake? Oh no, what happened?
そうですね。季節通りの気候の方が気分がいいもんです。麗華や暖冬はなんだか損した気になります。夏に負けないくらいこの夏の私たちも熱くいこう。綿流し祭何だ、綿流し祭六強爆闘だね。
今年の綿流しもみんなで一緒に楽しく過ごせますですよ。
Ah, I gotcha.
そうだね。楽しく過ごせるといいね。
お、レナは知らねえな。リカちゃんのは希望的憶測じゃねえんだぜ。本当の予言なんだぜ。だからリカちゃんが当日は楽しくなるって言ったら絶対にそうなる。だってこれは運命なんだからな。そうだろリカちゃん。
はい、運命なのですよ。
Ijin smiled with a neat paw. Her smile assured me that the day of Watanagosh was going to be a great one
当
for
日
us.
さ、すぐにオークションってわけじゃねえんだろ。
うん、始まるのは奉納演舞の一つ前だから、夕方からならみんなで一緒に遊ぶ時間は十分にあるよ。
そうですわよね。初めてのお祭りなのに一緒に遊べないなんて気の毒ですもの。
ケイちゃんの叩き売りを楽しんだ後はリカちゃまの奉納演舞ですか。なかなかいいじゃないですか。
ということは僕は圭一の司会を最後まで見られず途中で演舞の準備に行かなくてはならないのです。
へえ、リカちゃんも出番があるのか。演舞ってなんだ。やっぱり古出神社の巫女さんだから何か神事でもやるわけか。
綿流しの名の通りお布団の綿を清める演舞と儀式があるの。リカちゃんがとっても頑張るから圭一くんもいっぱい応援してあげてね。
Deadbeard, I see that host.
それでね。
How many you collected today? So, we're at the point now where we're making sure that we don't get the bad endings of the previous chapters. So we've proven that we're not getting the bad endings for chapters 1, 2, 5, 6, and 4. I don't think it really counts because it takes place like 5 years in the past and doesn't really involve most of these characters. So we're down to chapter 3.
重い最後をフラフラしながら振るうのがね、とっても可愛いんだよ。お持ち帰り。
We've talked about Birder, but we haven't killed anyone. I've never seen a real shrine maiden before. I'm sure Rika-chan will look adorable. It's looking more and more forward to the Minagoroshi festival. Rana, Mion, Shion, Sadako, Rika-chan, and I. 6 of us will definitely have a great time there. How many more days did we have? I've never been this excited about a festival in my life. I'm guessing it's going to cut us to the end of the chapter there. Oh, Beardy. This is officially on OBS. This is the first OBS stream. Oh, we're back to being Rika, it looks like. Sadako's snoring sounded so subtle. Geez, that's a tongue twister. Sadako's snoring sounded so subtle, while I stood by the window.
Satoko?
I've joined the light side because we haven't murdered people. I take it that means it wasn't the one behind the boss. Will your snore cycle repeat, or is that it? No, that's it. Oh, because I'm using real OBS. Oh, and the boss had progression? You just don't like the progression it gave you? I could tell that she was sound asleep.
いびきが可愛いのですよ。
Oh yes, we have Ghost Demon back. There aren't any webcam artifacts? Well, here you go. Here's full webcam. I'll do some motion, like ooh. Honey laughs and tries to poke Sadako's nose. I looked up at the sky. Nothing was different about the moon, but the moonlight seemed warmer than usual to me.
リカは機嫌がいいようなのです。うん、確かにそうかもしれない。
There you go. If I say something dumb again and you end up making a video about it, now there's less artifacting, or no artifacting. I realized it only after Hanyu pointed it out. I really was in a very good mood. Otherwise, I wouldn't be enjoying the view of the sky on a humid night like this. I felt like bringing a toast to the moon. As I rooted around the back of the closet, Hanyu spoke to me, sounding noticeably upset.
リカ、お酒はダメなのですよ。いいじゃない。今夜くらい。
Honey doesn't like alcohol. If I drink honey, will also taste it. She always complains when I try to drink. That's why I usually drink only when honey is far away from me. Of course, she'll know right away when I do, but it's too late by then.
ダメです、ダメです。リカにはワインは早いのです。リカは私よ。リカが飲みたいものはリカが決めるわ。
Sam says, why am I pregnant now? Do I want to know?
ダメです。僕はワインが嫌いなのです。ダメです。ダメ。今日は喧嘩はなしだってば。
Alright, I'll take your word for it.
わかったわ。じゃああんたにも飲みやすいように
You take it.
甘いオレンジジュースで割ってあげる。それならいいでしょ。ワインのあの匂いが嫌いなのです。だからダメ。
Honey jumped around and complained. She was making a lot of noise right where Sadako was
やめなさい。
sleeping.
さとこが起きちゃうでしょ。残念でしたなのです。僕はリカ以外には見えないし聞こえませんから、いくらトタンバタンしてもリカにしか聞こえないのです。あったんべー。はは。あんたはたまに身の程をわきまえないわね。
Imagine if you actually got notifications every time you got banned from a channel, and you just have people who are like, why am I just getting banned from this random person's channel? What did I do? I went to the refrigerator and took out a pack of orange juice and the spicy kimchi I typically use for her punishment.
はい問題。私がおつまみに激辛キムチをいっぱい食べて羽生が辛い思いをするのと、オレンジジュースで割った甘いワインを飲んで一緒に月を楽しむのとどっちがいい？
Yes, I saw that from, crap, what's his name? Guy on Twitter who Sherb mods for, who has a bunch of good videos about stuff that are Twitch related. Yeah, if you open the... Actually, I want to try this right now. If you open up the user chat list, and thank you for the host. That sounds right. I'm just looking through because I know he posted a video on it recently. Yeah, it's Zach. Yeah, I saw him tweet about it. So Twitch has upgraded the look and feel of the chat list. So you should be able to see, I think if you're in browser, because I'm actually in OBS, it's still the old one, probably because maybe OBS needs to update to match it. I'm not quite sure how that works. Probably. But yeah. I looked at it in mod view, so I'm not sure if it's in regular view as well. When you clenched her lips while jumping up and down, ready to burst into tears. You should be disciplined for being that noisy. But she never has been, since I'm the only one who can hear her. Besides, she's just like air. So I can't even give her a spank. This is such a weird conversation, where Rika, who is 200 years old, is having a conversation with a god, an actual god, and being like, I can drink wine, I'm old enough. Would you rather I punish you or spank you? Like... Honey loves sweets, but she really hates spicy food.
Rika, 飛び跳ねるのはおやめなさいませ。
Sadako woke up suddenly and had to hide my glass in a hurry. Sadako doesn't know about my drinking habit.
今何時だと思ってるんですの。
She fell asleep again after... That was during speaking, that wasn't after speaking.
あん
んたのドタンバタンがうるさいって注意されたわよ。この安眠妨害。
あう。
So, gosh dang it. So Samus had posted in his Discord, and I won't spoil it, Samus's, don't worry. But he just posted Beardy Doesn't Know, and for me that just starts off the Scotty Doesn't Know song. So, Deadbeard, if you're looking for a new musical enterprise, Beardy Doesn't Know is what I'm proposing. And I will help you write lyrics for that if you want. The first thing that came to my mind was Beardy doesn't know that Panic and me float around in his pond every Sunday. So feel free to take that and do with it what you will. I will promise not to say anything just to get a sneak preview of it. Just like I'm the only one who can see her, I'm usually the only person who can hear the noise she makes. However, that's not the case all the time. Hanyu does exist in this world. Sometimes people can't actually hear and feel her existence. It doesn't happen too often. Most people think that they just heard some random noise. Based on my experience, people who are in critical condition like Sadako tend to hear her more often. When I say critical condition, I mean who've reached the L4 stage, as Irie would describe it. At that stage, there's nothing that can be done anymore. You'll feel the existence and hear the noise of someone that they can't see. That would really mess with their mind. Yep, just got the message. I will take a look at that. I love the very, first sentence of that. I won't repeat it. Hanyu stopped jumping up and down and gave up as I started pouring alcohol into my glass. I wasn't drinking because I wanted to be mean to Hanyu. In fact, I always wished she would enjoy it too. I poured only a little bit of wine inside the glass and diluted it with plenty of orange juice. In fact, this cocktail is pretty much just juice. I also put some crushed ice inside the glass. With that, it looked like a real cocktail they serve at the bar.
Hanyu, これくらいの薄さなら平気でしょ?
I licked the edge of the glass to see how she'd react.
このくらいなら平気なのです。
そう。じゃあ今夜はこの濃さにするわ。もう怖がらないで。辛いのはしまうわ。
Hanu's been scared of that kimchi punishment for a while. I put it back inside the refrigerator. She seemed relieved. There we go. There's us drinking our fancy wine, which looks nothing like orange juice. I took the glass and headed back to the window. There was no breeze, but it seemed a little bit cooler.
あなたも今回は何かが違うって感じてる？
圭一やレナの話ですか？
それから多分みんな過去の世界をごくわずかだけど記憶してる。そしてそれを生かして致命的な失敗を避けている。
ここにはそう珍しいことではないと思いますです。でも圭一やレナ、シオンなどみんながみんな同時にそうなることは僕もとても珍しいことだと思いますのです。
私はよく 自分の運命をすごろくに例えるんだけど、これは3つ振ったサイコロがみんな6だったような。
僕たちの望む未来に最も近い位置からのスタートという意味では、リカのその例えは正しいと思いますのです。
If your neck hurts, do your posture check. My posture can be improved. There we go.
でもこれはリカが期待するような
Honestly, I find, for me personally, and I know it's not the same for everyone, just being able to lie on my back is the best thing when my back hurts. I knew what she was trying to say. She was telling me not to expect too much. The die is designed to have 6 sides. It's not a miracle if I roll it and get a 6. A true miracle is when I roll it once, get a 10. It's like what happened with Keiichi in my previous life. In other words, a miracle is something that would normally never happen. Keiichi gave the doll to Mion. Rena spoke with her father. Shion started taking care of Sadako after remembering her promise to Satoshi. Those were the 3 things we had pointed out. And actually, we pointed out more than that. That was all because they had those intentions somewhere in their hearts. It was only a side of their die that was engraved there already. But still, even if you couldn't call 3 dice rolling this well a miracle, it did mean good fortune.
リカが頑張ろうという強い意志を見せたので、天の神様が祝福しているのに違いないのです。
あんたも神様じゃなかったの？
リカは僕をいじめるときだけ神様扱いしますです。
冗談よ。お願いだからいじけないで。そんなわけだから。今夜はとても機嫌がいいのよ。
I lifted up the glass of orange wine and gave a toast to the moon. It tasted like nothing but sweet orange juice. It was funny to see Hanya making a happy face as I took a sip.
昭和58年の死の運命から逃れられるのでしょうか。
逃れることがゴールのすごろくなのだとしたら、これほど幸先のいいスタートはもう二度とないかもしれない。
No matter how hard I tried to prevent things from happening, there are some things I could never control. It's such a huge letdown when that happens. And after trying so hard, something renders my efforts infertile. I'll be wasting my time for so long because I was trying to escape from that pain. For the first time in my life, then, I've been blessed with a favorable situation. Everything seems perfect in this world. There's no reason for me to be depressed. Like the weather's perfect and the wind is blowing in just the right way. No infertility hype. If I failed to put my ship out to sea, there was nothing to pin the blame on. I understood what Hanya was trying to say with that concerned look on her face. If I didn't escape my death under this fortunate situation, I'd have to accept that my fate wasn't something that could be changed. This is an ideal world where all of my friends overcame their problems. I was always in a depressing world. This time, all the pieces of the puzzle matched. If I couldn't change my fate in this world, it's proof that I couldn't change it in any world. That was the ending that I've been afraid of for a long time. The loss of hope and the death of my soul. Of the pair of us, I was probably the only one who would die. Honey would most likely remain there, even if my spirit disappears. She must be afraid of being alone after I lose myself. That's why she's telling me not to expect too much. I bite down on an ice chip inside my mouth. It was pleasantly cold.
羽生、何度も繰り返した話で申し訳ないんだけど。
いいのですよ。どうしてリカが必ず昭和58年に殺されるかですね。
強い意志は強い運命を生み出す。ということは、私が昭和58年に必ず殺されるのは、
おそらくそうだと思いますです。
フルでリカを殺して、
Okay, Deadbeard is
誰が
redeemed
どんな得を
Stretch.
するのかしら。
強い意志があるのですから、おそらくは明白な動機があるものと。
自分で言うのも嫌だ。
Alright. Did you just do this because you wanted to test the camera quality more? Yeah, I've never liked when people, when you redeem stretch and they're like, okay, there you go. And I'm like... if you look down in the description, I have there, I want to say it's the 1050 Ti, GTX 1050 Ti. If you are on mobile and can't view it, actually, can I quickly take a look at this? Yeah, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1050 Ti, there you go. Yeah. Because I've been using, it was an old, it was NVIDIA, but it was like a, oh, it was pretty old, 760, something like that. And so I've been looking for something kind of middle of the road that I could upgrade my computer to. So I had that one on like my Amazon wish list and was watching, and I got it. It went on sale. It was like $50 off or something. I got it just kind of before all the GPU prices started to hike up. So I got that. I got my computer didn't have a wireless adapter, so I got a wireless adapter and 16 more gigs of RAM. So I have the very odd number of 24 gigs of RAM on this computer. Yeah, it wasn't bad. It had, like, I would say it's good enough to play most games on medium quality and a lot of games on higher ultra if they're older games or not as graphically intensive. And it has the 2 HDMI ports I wanted on it. That was really all I wanted from it. Yeah, it's decent. It's not anything spectacular. I'm trying to remember how much it was. I think with tax and everything, it was maybe $260, $270, something like that, which was reasonable. Like, not the best deal, but it was reasonable. Yeah, considering that I'm sure right now it's like double that. Because, yeah, my wife, she was looking at, because she had a very old computer with just an integrated graphics card, and we were looking at building her a computer from scratch. And oh, thank you. Risk it. I think I've got it. It's a long time no see. How are you doing, my friend? But yeah, we were looking at building a desktop for my wife, and like the price of a decent graphics card was probably at least $600. Maybe like some of them even more, like $800 to $1,000 if you wanted to go like just a bit over decent. And we found we went on Kijiji and we bought a new desktop.
Were you calling me?
No, I was just talking about the computer we bought for you.
Oh, because I heard wife. I was like, oh, are you okay?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just talking about graphics cards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was saying when we bought your computer, it was only like $200 more than if we bought your graphics card from scratch. So.
Oh.
Yeah, nice to see you again, Riskit. I can't remember the last time I've seen you. Yeah, Samson says hi.
Hello.
The wife signal.
It's my tattoo.
Oh, yeah. So my wife got a new tattoo the other day. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. How's it feeling? Still looking great.
Yeah, I mean, it should. It's a new tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think I should be able to take the thing off.
Cover off.
Thank you, Deadbeard.
You get some paint.
I have paint everywhere, don't worry. Blocking the important streamer.
Yeah, you.
Okay, I will continue.
I'm looking forward to seeing the
mess.
yes, the mess. Yeah, so she has two. She has one on each arm, kind of in the same spot. She found that one. It wasn't too bad until you get to the color. The coloring, she said, hurt a lot more. Just like the regular one wasn't too bad. But while we were there was a dude getting I don't know exactly what it was. It looked like a Bible verse in Spanish to me, but he was getting it like along the side of his body at the bottom of the ribs, and he was in so much pain. They would do like a word or two, and he'd have to take a break. And it was pretty long. It was 6 lines long, and each line was like 7 or 8 words. So. Yeah, I don't know how long he was in there for, because we left, and I think they were only like a third of the way done. Yeah. Yeah, I personally don't have any tattoos. I'm not against tattoos, I just haven't had anything I really want on me yet. That's what Knuckles says. I grabbed my controller and I'm like, what am I doing now? This is a mouse and keyboard game. It's force of habit.
一般的な村人に殺害動機があるとは思えない。少なくともこの村に住まう人間である以上、リカに好意を抱かない人間はいないはずなのです。
No, we won't be doing that.
あんたのおかげでね。
Okay. So, while we were waiting, because my wife got a tattoo and her sister was also there getting a tattoo. So we were there for probably like 4 or 5 hours, somewhere in that range between the two of them. So of course, the topic comes up, like, oh, what would everyone get as like their next tattoo, or like me, their first tattoo. And so my idea, and tell me if this is dumb or if you think this is brilliant, is Link from Breath of the Wild as he's like scaling one of the like canyon walls, except he's climbing up like your shoulder or your back. I don't know. Tell me if you think that's a dumb idea. Samus's is filled with determination when their newborn baby sends them a whisper with the message. I don't want to imagine all the people in Chaos's basement are going to moisturize me. Doesn't fit my headcanon. What is this game? Okay, so this game is Higarashi, which is a visual novel. Basically, the plot of it is you have some kids in 1983 rural Japan who go crazy and murder each other. And there's a bunch of games for it. We have played 6 of the main games on stream. This is the 7th out of 8, and we played one of the side games. We're not going to play all the side games. I think I have like 15 other side games that I have, and I know there's more. They've made a bunch of spin-off games. They made like a... what do you call it? Like an RTS battle thing. So like imagine... I don't know what's the best. Can you post a link in chat? Yes, I'm pretty sure you're able to. If not, I will post it, but I'm pretty sure mods can post. And yes, you are free to do so. Okay, what is this? Oh no, what is... I don't know what I was expecting, but I should have expected that. Yep. And yes, thank you, Samus, for pointing that out. Because this game deals with a lot of mature themes, I do have trigger warnings down in the description of my channel. And I always start each stream with them if there are trigger warnings, but this game especially has some pretty bad ones. I've had people tell me they have to tap out from listening to this game. We did the same thing, Deadbeard, with Mim, where he has a channel point redeem where you can put some text in it, and someone was like, "Hey, can the text be a link?" And he's like, "Sure, as long as like one of the mods looks at it and it's fine." Of course, it was a link to link. I'm waiting for the inevitable 7 more I faileds coming after that message. And if people haven't seen this before, this view right here, this game is actually based on a real-life World Heritage site. And this is a pretty accurate view from, I don't know what it actually is. I think just like an observation deck kind of thing. But if you Google, Higarashi town it's based off of, this is almost like, obviously it's a bit less populated because it's supposed to be, geez, what's that, 37 years ago? But it's almost like building for building, road for road shot of what it is. Yeah, that is the hard part. Is it? Let me Google, because Shishibone is might be the prefecture. I'm curious now, so let's find it. Okay, the village is called Shirakawa-go. here, I'll type it in chat. Phone, you can go there. Shirakawa-go. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Because of it has the old like thatched roof look that just isn't around much these days, just because it's such a pain and a fire hazard, and you can get like rats in it and insects and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, and like especially if you watch the anime, the original 2009 anime, a lot of the places are cut for cut, like scene for scene spots from the village. So like the temple's real. Rika and Sadako's house is an actual storage shed behind that temple. This view right here, which appears in almost every game, there's some views off of the temple that they show that are almost, cut for cut. Where Keiichi, Mion, and Rena meet up before school, and there's like a little waterway and a little what do you call it, like water mill? Not quite, like not a big water mill, but like a tiny one. Also from there, and just like a bunch of other scenes from it too are image for image from this village. Now, I would love to visit it. The problem is, it's in the middle of nowhere, basically. I think if you want to get to it from... I can't remember what the closest city was to it. it was Kyoto. I think it's like a 3 bus changes or something, and like 5 hours. So like if you want to go there, you really want to go there.
となると、私を殺したい人間や勢力が思いつかない。
むしろ
I would love to go there. It's just there's many places I want to go to in the world, and I have been to Japan. I was very fortunate enough to go just before COVID hit. And this was one of the places I thought of, but it was so far out of the way. You'd basically be dedicating probably like 2 days of a trip just to go there, or one very, very long day with not a lot of time to actually visit there, because I don't think the bus schedules ran super late. Or you'd have to rent a car and drive there yourself. So thought about it, but decided it just wasn't worth the trade-off of going to see this village for like, you know, these couple of pictures when there were so many other things we wanted to see and we could fit so much more into it. I'm not anti-car. Well, I think it would be nice if there was good public transit everywhere and people could use it, and it was not an inconvenience. But currently, like here in Canada, it's just not really possible to do a whole lot of stuff without just taking hours and hours of time. But when we went to Japan, we just got their rail pass. Japan has a fantastic rail system. You can get just like one of those tap-on cards, and they have a couple major ones. And you can load them at any station, and you'd load whatever, $10, $20 on at a time. You don't have to do too much. $10, $20 worth at a time. And yeah, like, there was very few times that we were inconvenienced trying to get somewhere. The only time that really I can think of is to and from our Airbnb in Kyoto was probably like a 1 hour hike from the train station to our Airbnb. But once we were there was a subway line, I don't know, 10 minutes away, 5-10 minutes away, something like that. Yeah, it really depends. So like, I'm now inside of Toronto's like transit route, but when I was with my parents, I was outside of it. And if I wanted to, I would always drive to the train station to go into the city, and it was, I don't know, a 10-minute drive. And then if I caught the express train, maybe like a 30 to 40-minute train ride. Yeah, I think it actually wasn't too much longer if you didn't get the express. Maybe it was 30 and 45 minutes. Sounds right. But yeah, like if I wanted to go there, like one time I walked to the station because I just didn't have a car. And that to me was better than waiting for the bus, because the bus comes once an hour and sometimes it's late. And yeah, like trying to go cross town by transit can take you like 3.5 hours. So, okay. So I've actually done a lot of traveling. I was very fortunate growing up. I had parents who were teachers. They had summers off, so we did lots of traveling. But this was like the first time, traveling, I guess, more on my own. It was my then girlfriend and I going on this trip. So the things we did, we did a whole blog about it, but probably the best thing that we had was we got a data SIM card. And so it was unlimited data only, no calls, no texts, but unlimited data for the 2 weeks we were there. When you got there, we got the SIM cards ahead of time, and when you got to there, you would put it in your phone, and then it would hook up to the network and it would activate. So that meant we could Google Translate stuff. We had Google Maps. That was the most important thing for us, was having Google Maps on our phones, and not having to worry about ridiculous, data overage charges. We bought ours online. This one was specifically for Japan, and I can't remember the brand. I can look it up later if you want me to. But yeah, so we got it ahead of time. They mailed it to us, and then we just had to bring it with us. And when we got to the airport, one of the first things we did after we got off and used the bathroom and just like breathed non-airplane air was, put the new SIM cards in our phones and turn it on and make sure everything worked. The data SIM. I'm sure Chaos can hook you up. I'm sure he knows that. As for like the language barrier, my wife and I both knew like a little bit of Japanese, enough to like get by, enough to read a bunch of things. Not everything, of course, but enough to get by in most places. And Japan in particular has a fair amount of English, unless you're someplace pretty rural, or outside of Tokyo. Tokyo itself, you can get English in almost everything, and a lot of like shopkeepers and stuff will speak English as well. But like we knew enough. Like we had an issue one time with one of our tickets where the machine ate the ticket and like wouldn't let us through. And like I knew just enough to say in very broken, like, hey, we bought 2 tickets. And she was trying to figure out if we bought the wrong ticket, and I was able to say we bought tickets at this price for 2 people at this price, and from that she was able to surmise that we bought the right ones and let us through. But yeah, when my dad plans trips for my family, he makes like a little like binder, and he'll print off the Google Maps stuff of everything. So he'll have, day 1, we land at the airport, we, pick up the car, here's the confirmation email, and then we're going to drive this route, and he'll have, like, Google Maps with the directions to this location, and it's going to take 2 hours. Suspecto Patronum? As long as it's not Suspecto Petroleum. And no more gas in this chat. Yeah. Yeah, and my wife and I, we had planned, like, on this day we're seeing these things, and we had, like, our very first day, we were awake at 5 a.m., I think. Just because we wanted to get to places before tourists got there so we could take nice pictures. So we hate people, so that was nice. Thank you for the quote. So we would get up at like ridiculously early times, have super long days. But then we'd also have days where it's like, oh, we have, these things that like we kind of want to do, but no particular order, and just like we would put in like a half day for just wandering around or going back and seeing if we wanted to do anything. And yeah, it's always good to have stuff that you can kind of like flop around in case of things like bad weather, or you get there and find out like, hey, this thing's closed on Tuesdays. I've had that happen before where I think we were in France and the Palace of Versailles was closed on whatever it was, Thursdays, Tuesdays, I can't remember what day it was. So then you flip it with the plans for the next date. And then just like other things, so we would have like lists of, foods we want to try, and we wouldn't exactly plan out dinner, but when you start getting hungry, you'd look around and you'd see, okay, we haven't tried this thing, or we wanted to check out this place. And in one of the time offs we had like an afternoon where we just had nothing booked. So what we did is we went on Airbnb experiences, and we got like a last minute one, and it was for how to make ramen. So we went to this place and they like showed you, they walked you through how to make the noodles, how to make the broth, and you did all this, and then you got to eat it. So that was fun. So if you're looking for like something like that, you can look at one of these like Airbnb experiences or some other kind of travel thing. Some of those you might want to book ahead of time. Some of those you can probably do like the day of, the morning of. We did a couple of those. We did one that was a sake tasting. We did a kimono one, which is where I got the picture that makes me look like a Jedi. Yeah, so lots of fun, lots of pictures, lots of food. Alright, I feel like I just talked for half an hour straight, so let's get back to this.
そうね。世界中のど
That
こ
was
よ
actually
りも
probably like half an
こ
hour
こが
straight.
安全なはずなの。私を殺そうとする人間がいるどころか、私を守ろうという人間がいるはずなのに。
It's ironic, for a long time I've been refusing help from all those people who are trying to keep me safe.
リカ、やはり入江たちを頼るのはどうですか？
The cat got you? People in this village love and cherish me, but no matter what, they never save me when I try to escape the fate of my death. I spoke to several villagers in the past, but they never believed me. None of them saved me in the end. They probably didn't believe me because they had no idea who was trying to kill me, or what their motive was. To explain that, people might be more accepting of my story. Oh, cat scratches can hurt. So last time I got scratched by a cat, it was like across the back of the hand, and it wasn't so bad at first, but it was just like every time I'd go and like do something with my hand, it would sting a bit. There's nothing I can do about that. No one would believe a little girl say she's going to be killed without rhyme or reason. They all think of me as the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama, the leader of the Furude family. They do cherish me, but they won't protect me with their lives. On the other hand, Irie and his people are totally different. They realize how special I am, and they would try to make sure that nothing happens to me. If I confess to them that my life is in danger, I'm sure they would do their best to prevent it. They have all the means to protect me from a violent end. However, none of it really worked in the past. Not that they're unreliable. It's because Takano, the one responsible for protecting me, also gets killed on the same day every time. In other words, asking her for help is completely useless. She's very reliable. She also isn't. It's ironic, but I'm the only one who knows the reason why they can never save me.
それが狙いなのかしら。富武と高野を殺し、私を守る者を排除して、それから殺す。
確かに高野たちの死はリカの死と密接に関係する先触れなのです。
同じ運命なら、いや、同じ犯人が同じ目的でやっている犯行なら、あの二人の死をなんとか覆すことで、私の運命もまた覆せるんじゃないかしら。
リカは多分覚えていませんですが、ずいぶん前にもそう言って実行したことがありましたです。
The deaths of Takano and Tomitake, and the loss of my protection. As the two of them die, the suspect is able to kill me. So I've tried to prevent their deaths somehow. They never believed me. I tried so hard to persuade them, but they didn't listen. I eventually gave up and just thought of their deaths as fated to happen. It's the same hopeless feeling I used to have towards my parents when I was able to go farther back in time. When I found out that death was inevitable, I lost interest in them. After all that time had passed, I forgot how hard I used to try to prevent my parents'
それに
deaths.
リカは入江たちのことは嫌ってると思いましたです。
まあね、連中は明らかに私たちをモルモットだと思ってるし。
I support them so I can help Sadako, but it disgusts me to think that they're only using me as a test subject. I've been resenting Irie for that reason. Still, I should try to get closer to him. After all, he's the only person who understands how important I am. He's the main person I should be talking to and has the most potential for protecting me. I can't avoid seeking help from him just because I don't like him. I've asked him for help several times before. Tomitake and Takano get murdered even so, and it ruins everything. After their deaths, Irie panics and becomes useless. So I gave up on seeking help from him. In this world, I've been blessed with a positive situation. Never have this lucky a start as this again. It's the best chance I'll ever get. I should give it my best shot. I really don't like him at all, though. He's not a bad person. I should respect him more. He's serious about helping Sadako. He's not as much of a mad scientist as I'm inclined to think. Takano is a strange person too, but she's also someone who can give me support. She only thinks I'm her guinea pig, so I don't really want to help her. Want her help. Tomitake is more reliable than Takano. The biggest problem is he only visits the village a few times a year. On top of that, he always dies before I get killed, so he can never help me. However, they really are the people I should be talking to. If I can change the fate of their deaths, they should be able to save me from my own. It's possible that the only reason I lived until 1983 was because of their effort.
高野たちに接触して彼らを救えるようまた努力してみようと思うの。あ、大丈夫よ。どうせ殺されると思ってるから変に期待してない。だから期待を裏切られても全然平気よ。
リカがひどいことを言ってますのです。
I chuckled at
も
her
し死
comment.
の運命から逃れられれば私の運命に対して大きな影響を与えてくれるのは間違いない。そして今回はそれでも二人が殺されるのを前提に話をしてみようと思うの。つまり二人が殺された後私にも及ぶだろう危害への警護についてちゃんとそういう指示を出してくれれば高野たちの死後も私の身辺は強固に警備されているかもしれない。
The protection they provide is probably the highest standard of security I could hope for. Yet I lose that the moment Tomitake and Takano die. I never have their protection after Minagoroshi. Therefore I get killed too. In other words, that's it. Whoever possesses the strong will to kill me actually just wants me dead. Yet so long as those two are alive, there's tight security all around Hinamizawa that prevents the killer from getting to me. But to kill me, they must first kill Tomitake and Takano, the heart of that security. Then my protection falls away, leaving me exposed.
リズムで考えれば考えるほど二人の運命と私の運命はつながっているのね。そうやって考えるとあの二人を見殺しにした時点で私の運命は逃れられないものに決まってしまうのかもしれない。
ならリカのすべきことはもう明らかなのです。
そうね。自分の命より先にあの二人の命を救う方が先決ってことね。
It's kind of ironic. I gave up on them because I was more determined to save my own life. But I finally came to the conclusion I have to help them first before helping myself. But there's still something I don't understand. Someone with convictions this strong is trying to kill me for some equally strong motive. Yet no matter how often I debate it, I can't think of anyone who'd benefit from my death. Not only that, but there should be people who'd want to protect me, especially since they would do anything to protect me in the present environment. They even eliminated my mother. To be perfectly honest, I don't even care about her anymore. I never got along with her. She's the one who took my father's death the wrong way, making a huge deal out of it like she did. She got what she deserved. I'm a valuable guinea pig for them, and I can be a bomb, too. No one benefits from making me explode. There's only disaster awaiting them if that happens. Lots of people will be lost, nobody would gain anything from it. According to Takano, my death would be like the eruption of a volcano in the middle of the village. Not interested in what happens after my death, but they're really concerned about it. Do her parents have any siblings? Not that I know of. They're watching me every day to ensure that I don't accidentally hit my head on the corner of a block of tofu and die. Fair to say that they're here in order to prevent the eruption from happening. I'd be suspicious of them if they were going to benefit in some way from my death. As everyone knows, that can't possibly be the case. My death would create nothing but a disaster. They're benefiting from my being alive right now.
損得の問題ではなく、何かの怨恨かもしれないとは随分思ったわよね。私個人じゃなくて、古出家に対する恨みみたいなものが伝統的に御三家とかに残ってたりして、私が爆弾だと知らないからこそ殺したと。
That's why I was suspicious of the three families, especially the Sonozaki family. However, after observing them in numerous worlds, I feel that's not the case. I felt that way in several lines, but it always had something to do with the incident with Keiichi and the doll. It's clear that there's nothing going on between the Sonozaki family and mine.
あとは盲信的な何者かなのです。
This is actually a pretty long chapter. I know we talked for like half an hour, but usually these take about an hour to go through. It's not about profit or a grudge. It might be someone who's secretly a deranged cultist. Panic. I've already had a series of murders, 4 years in a row under the name of Oishiro-sama's curse. Timing-wise, it would be somewhat interesting if I, the reincarnation of Oishiro-sama, were killed on the 5th year. I couldn't stand to be murdered for such a whimsical reason, but such a motive actually seemed fitting. Ironically, I'd have to suspect Takano if that's the case. She's well known for being an eccentric researcher of local histories. She's only interested in the village's history because she already knows who I am. She's doing the research based on the notion that I'm important. But she should have no reason to kill me. Her desire to keep me close to her as a research sample. It's hard to believe that she would kill her favorite toy. She might be willing to kill someone who tried to harm her little toy, though.
まあ、いくら考えてもわからないし、どうでもいいことかもしれないわね。誰かが私を必ず殺す。その事実から逃れられれば、他はとりあえずどうでもいいんだから。
No, I take that back. I want to escape my deadly fate, but I also want all my friends to be happy. I want the rest of my life to be happy, too. I don't want to hide myself in the forest forever just to get away from my murderer. In fact, I tried that once before, but I still met with the same ending. Living in the forest was a horrible experience. I think I was able to survive until July that time? It might be the longest I've ever lived. I smiled bitterly and finished off the rest of the orange wine in the glass. I'd have to talk to Irie again. I don't like him, but his people are my only hope.
もういい時間ね。床に戻らないと。明日が辛いわ。
僕もそう思いますです。
Nah, this isn't one of those JRPGs where they localized it to Western audiences to be grape juice instead of wine. They're like, nope, it's wine. This 11-year-old's drinking liquor.
おやすみなさいなのですよ。
I lay down and closed my eyes, but I couldn't fall asleep right away. Suddenly, I remembered Rena's words out of nowhere. No, this isn't Steins Gate. This would... Oh gosh. The prequel... So there's a prequel to Steins Gate called Chaos Head. Chaos Head... Year? It's still gonna be in like the... Yeah, Chaos Head... When do you take place? Because of Chaos, the stream is now banned in Australia. Thanks, Chaos. When do you take place? So you were released in 2008. And the game's set in 2009 in Shibuya. So there you go. We're like a solid... What? 36 years? Ahead of Chaos Head. No good when I was thinking about it on my own. I wasn't thinking about it on my own. I was talking it out with Hanyu. Now I know, it's important to talk to other people. Friends have greater meaning than I thought. You can talk to them about anything. I finally realized that. After I asked Takano for help, should I also talk to Keiichi? I told him before in my previous lives, but he never believed me then. Alright, there we go. Jeez, that was... I mean, if we didn't talk about random stuff for half an hour, that'd still be like a 2-hour chapter. We got one tip called The Two of Us. Rika Frude always thought there were 4 members in her family. She could clearly see all of us, her father, her mother, and me. She had no idea that I was invisible to anyone else but her. My appearance is a little different from human beings. I may otherwise look like a person, but I can't hide my horns, so it's obvious that I'm not human. I'd hoped that because Rika had seen me since she was a baby, she wouldn't be bothered by my ugly horns at all. And that hope came true. Just as chicks believe whatever they see as their first parent, Rika accepted me as part of her family as a matter of course, just like Deadbeard accepted that he wanted a stretch. Oh. If you go chair, up you come camera. Ugh. No, stream's got at least another half hour. Let's see how far it goes. In games like this, I usually try to find a natural stopping point, and unless we get to the end of a chapter and there's like 5 minutes left, I usually keep going and just trying to find like a natural pause in conversation or switch in topics. Samus thinks that Samus should be going to bed. If you don't have the energy for another half hour, by all means, go to bed. You're doing the same, but continuing watching. Alright, there was your stretch. Your second stretch. Is that what you were using my discs for, Samus's? You were using up all my storage? Even though I have these horns, Rika and I have been close ever since the day she accepted me as her family member. I became closer to her than her parents. I couldn't even remember the last time I was able to communicate with someone. Spamuses? spent all day together. But her family, especially her mother, denied my existence. Since her mother so strongly denied me, Rika and her mother became distant. Rika didn't learn certain things that many children learn from their mothers. That's why I taught her instead. It's kind of ironic how that made her mother resent Rika even more. Rika used to fight with her mother a lot about how she talked. I guess she picked up some bad habits from me. Besides the fact that she didn't get along with her mother, Rika was a pretty normal girl. She was just like Sadako. She loved running around in the woods doing mischievous things. However, in June 1983, Rika's life was taken. All we want is a happy life for Rika. My power only allows us to search for the path leading to that. It's awful to repeat the same tragedy over and over again. Although it's devastating, we can still find happiness within this endless world. Rika Furude's destiny is a tragic dead end, but I'm secretly enjoying the fact that I get to spend more time with her than what normal people can enjoy. It's not just Rika. They may not see or hear me, but being with Sadako, Mion, Ren, and Keiichi is also fun. But not Shion, we don't like Shion. I can never be one of them, but I can still be by their side. So that was the two of us. So we'll save. And we'll continue on chapter 3. Samus's feels warm and fuzzy inside when their mom sends them an invitation which says, "Juggling is just a series of yeets." That sounds like the world's weirdest birthday party invite. And yeah, we'll continue for about another half hour, see how far we get, and find a natural stopping point. Okay, this is at the clinic.
やあ、リカちゃんが日曜
Take
日
care,
以外に
Samuses.
診療所にいらっしゃるなんて珍しいですね。
Is Spamus coming with you to bed? Or is Spamus not having a good night?
高野とお話ししたいことがありますのです。今日はいますですか？
いえ、多分リサさんとデートじゃないでしょうか。いやいや、お羨ましい。
どうしてリサなのですか？よくわからない名前なのです。
それは本人に聞いてみてください。初対面の時のちょっとした認識ミスなんですがね、その時の先方の対応がとても面白かったもので。
I don't get it. That's what nicknames are all about, though.
どんなご用件ですか？伝言でよければ今夜ミーティングがありますから、その席上で伝えておきますよ。
ありがとうなのです。でも直接言いますのでいいのですよ。
そうですか。わかりました。では私は書類事務に戻ります。
今日は入江は診察はしていないですか？
今夜のミーティングの資料作りで大忙しです。普段から準備はしているんですがね、日々の本業に圧迫されてなかなか時間がなんて言うと準備がなってないと怒られてしまいますね。
それに加えて野球までやっているのですから、つくづく入江は元気だなと思いますです。
本当に忙しいですよ。家事や秘書を代行してくれる可愛いメイドさんを常時募集中なのですが、なかなか応募がありません。
He laughed and looked at his watch. He seemed to be in a
中野
hurry.
たちはどこへ行っているか想像はつきますですか？
村の中をいろいろと回るだろうと思います。ああ、でもいつも待ち合わせは神社の境内なんだそうですよ。高野さんは半ドンで帰られましたから、ひょっとするとまだ境内にいるかもしれませんね。
I looked at the clock on the wall. I must have just missed her. There's no time to be chatting with Irie.
ありがとうなのですよ。
Welcome back.
神社に戻ってみますです。
年に4度しかない仰せなんですから、あまり邪魔をしない方がいいと思いますよ。
It worries me, some of those emotes that you have. Because looking, when it shows like, oh, whatever, 2 chatters have this, 1 chatter is this, and I'm like, I know who that is. I know who has that one. He smiled mischievously, waved his hand in goodbye. This scene right here, that one with the wall, that's part of, that's actually a scene from the city in real life. I headed back to the shrine. I was going to park my bike by the stairs that led to the shrine grounds. Sadako and I are the only people who park our bikes there normally, but I saw more than 10 bikes there today. People must be gathering at the convention room. There are more and more meetings when the Wadnagashi festival draws closer. Hot Paimon. Are they just all... they're just all different, like, flavors of pop and pie? Seeing all these bikes reminded me that summer is nearly here. Most of the bikes were old and beat up, however I saw 2 unfamiliar ones parked there. They were sporty mountain bikes with the same design but different colors. They must belong to Takano and Tomitake. I went up the stairs to look for the 2 of them, but I couldn't find either. Is there any place with a great view for taking pictures? I tried looking in places like that, but I still couldn't find them. We started looking based on what Takano might be interested in. I can only think of one place.
どう？ジローさん。
うん。シンプルなタイプだと思うよ。道具があれば、多分1分とかからないよ。
さすがね。ジローさんが得意なのは、心の奥の錠前外しだけじゃないのね。
たたりじゃー。
The 2 of them jumped in surprise as I suddenly appeared in front of them.
あら、リカちゃん。急に脅かすなんて人が悪いわね。
開かずの細工殿の鍵を開けちゃおうとする人の方がもっと悪いのです。
あダメだよ、高野さん。やっぱり悪いことはするもんじゃないよ。
Tomitake conceded right away, but Takano was stubborn. She made up excuses to try and fool me. Based on my previous lives, I knew just how much interest she had in the storehouse. It was actually rather impressive how hard she tried to cover that up. The ritual storehouse is full of the remainder of the dark history of Onigafuchi. It contains bloody and vicious tools that Takano is fascinated with. You should have a good idea as to what those things are inside of the storehouse based on what she's been researching. Yes, I saw that was a tag on Twitch, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's add it. we found stuff in visual novels. They're not always like they're not always like great glitches. But we found ones with animations. I think my favorite one is still that one from Steins Gate, where we saw that the reflection didn't have, like, the hat. She was making up some story about cultural treasures and such, but it was obvious that she was just making excuses. Tomitake also seemed impressed, listening to Takano's phony justifications. In the past, I've tried to conceal what was inside of the storehouse from Takano, because I don't want her spreading information about the holy and brutal traditions they used to have in Onigafuchi village. I'm a casual glitch hunter, and my motto is, I guess the fisting wasn't that good if the penguin is sad about it. I don't even want to know what the context was for that. It would be a disgrace. As a member of the Furude family, I can't let that happen. Looking at the history of Onigafuchi and the way Takano does is a painful thing for Hanyu as well. For Hanyu, the ritual storehouse is a special place. I don't know what's so nice about being surrounded by those scary ritual tools, but she feels cozy when she's surrounded by the smell of old times. Ah, yes. Doesn't everyone just feel cozy when they're surrounded by the tools of torture and blood of people who have betrayed you? The storage is like Hanyu's hideout. When I can't see her, she's usually relaxing in here. I don't want Hanyu's happy place to be turned into the bloody, horrifying den of evil Takano believes it to be. That's why I've been keeping Takano away from the ritual storehouse. Come to think of it, why am I so mean to her? Because I hate her? I should stop feeling that way. I have to keep in close contact with Takano and Tomitake. Torture is just a friendly way to tell someone, I don't know why you're covered in goo. Did Chaos finally give you a donut? I don't even know what I say anymore. I won't give up just because it didn't work before. I'm gonna try one more time. This world is different from the other ones. My people to change their fate, which in turn might change my own.
高野に最具殿の中を見せてあげようと思うの。
Honey made an irritated face. Takano will lose herself in ecstasy if she sees what's inside of there. She'll run around spreading rumors of the bloody history of Onikafuchi. Honey wasn't too excited about that prospect.
高野にごまをするわけじゃない。でも話を聞いてもらうきっかけにはなるんじゃないかと思うの。高野は根に持つから、ここで意地悪をすると、私の話をちゃんと聞いてくれないかもしれない。
I understand that Hani doesn't want her inside this holy place, but she can't do anything more than be irritated about it. I'm the only one who can make the ultimate decision. Besides, she'll forgive me if I promise to eat something sweet later.
高野、もしも約束を守ってくれるのでしたら、中に入れてあげ。
本当に？最具殿の中よ。中は中でも防災倉庫の中とかはなしよ。
本当ですよ。ちゃんと最具殿の中なのですよ。
最具殿ってここよ。この建物の中なのよ。
別にごまかす気はありませんですよ。ちゃんとこの中に入れてあげますです。みぱー。
にぱー。
I'd never seen such a big smile on her face before. Now this is a miracle. I'm seeing this face for the first time in 100 years. Tomitake must be feeling the same way. His image of Takano was slowly falling apart as we spoke, I'm sure. No, maybe he just found a new side of her to love instead.
高野って結構面白い人だったのでびっくりなのです。やっぱりコミュニケーションって大事ね。
Yeah, the emoji text.
人を知るのってつくづく難しいと思い知るわ。
We remained there and watched Takano spinning in delight for a while.
中には内緒で入れるのですから、他の人に見つかってはいけませんですよ。
そうだよね。高野さんを正気に戻しておくよ。
僕はその間に鍵を持ってきますです。
By the time I came back with the key, Takano was totally calm again. She was obviously trying to hide how gleeful she was, though. I mean, RPG Maker is great. I'm not one of those people that... I know people who've spent like hundreds of hours building stuff in it, never to see the light of day, but enjoying every minute of it. I've spent 15 to 20 hours playing around with it. I guess the only thing I can say is and maybe this is probably just me not being dedicated enough to it, but I never really got anything out of it other than I guess the fun of playing around with it. And I ended up going the route of making my own engine. Yes, I have seen that there's some pretty good deals on stuff. Hey, I mean, you get games that are like, $20 that only last 6 hours. If you can get more than 6 hours out of enjoyment from that, that's probably worth it. Yeah, and MV isn't too bad. Yeah, I remember I played around with it. Making maps in it's probably the most fun thing for me personally. I find the scripting language for it a bit annoying. I never told you to spend money. I just said it might be worth it. Yeah. What's the one because I played with... Was XP the one that had the light edition that was free? I used that for quite a bit, if that's the one I'm thinking of. What's in my library? I think I have MV, I think is the one I own. Yeah, I think it is. RPG. Yeah, so I have MV. I spent, what's that, 3.5 hours on it, playing around with it. Ultimately, Ace. It was, Ace was the one that had the light version. Maybe that was like XP Ace. I don't remember the full name of it. Yeah. I think that's the hardest part, is finding like a good engine that you enjoy working with and will let you do what you want fairly quickly and painlessly. MV does have a fairly decent modding library. I remember at one point I was looking at... Yeah, VX Ace. There we go. That was the one I was playing with. VX Ace Lite. I was looking at... There was a couple ones that basically let you mod it to be like an action RPG, kind of like Legend of Zelda style, which was basically what I was looking for, something like that. I think for me the biggest turnoff of the Game Maker series is the random combat. The fact that their default is like the old school Final Fantasy, not even the side view where you have like the 4 people and then like the enemies, but it's like the head on where it's just like you see the enemy and nothing else, I think is their biggest disappointment. I kind of wish they had more, and I know there's good plugins for that kind of stuff, because I did play around with some of them. But I think that's their biggest letdown right now, is they don't have just better base game stuff for it. If you had like a base for like a 2D platformer, if you had a base for some like a game without battles, a game with Final Fantasy battles, and like a Legend of Zelda ARPG style, I think that's what it's missing. And then something like that, like specialized fighting, like something like that, like having a Paper Mario style menu, or Undertale kind of menu, something like that. And I mean, I've definitely played some RPG Maker games that were pretty decent. I think the one I'm thinking of, and let me Google this, if you bought either the BLM or the Ukraine Itch.io package, I'm pretty sure this game was in both of them. I'm just Googling it to make sure I have the right name. Yeah, so the game is called Long Gone Days. It's a military-based game that has that kind of the very clearly RPG Maker default But it does have some mini games where it's like you like shoot around, you move around a map and you like find targets and shoot them within a time limit. It was pretty good. Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. I feel like there was another one in the BLM package I played that was similar. Maybe I'm just thinking about the same game. But yeah, totally agree. Random encounters, not fun. To me, that's the biggest thing holding me back from wanting to use RPG Maker is good base for games that aren't random encounter based. I thought she was a mature lady, but she might still be a kid at heart. I think they called that something like gap moe. I picked up that term at some point from Keiichi, but I'm still not sure how it's used.
では高野、富武。
Yeah, yes, and that's exactly how I felt, and that's like if you have to dive super deep in and like write your like the structure for it, at a certain point, yeah, it definitely feels like I could have written my own thing like this. That's exactly what took me down the route of what I did, where I started making my own game engine. And I had several reasons for it. One, it let me develop as a Windows application just directly, so it spins up a Windows application which is based off of Chromium, so it can also run in web and Windows natively, which has a bunch of stuff. One, I can reuse it for a bunch of stuff. I can reuse it for web applications as well as just any Windows application I want to write. I guess the only side effect is I haven't seen. I don't think it would run on Mac or Linux. If I got to the point where I wanted to do that, I'm sure there would be a way to compile it natively like that. But yeah, I like the idea that I could have a base and have something that could be used for like a wide variety of things, and I could base stuff off of it. So I could, like games have a lot of things in common. Like if you have text boxes, like the one down there, some kind of background load in, menus, save menus, settings, like all of that. You can make a base application for all of that and then reuse it for a bunch of different things. Even if you're looking at like a Zelda style versus like a Mario platformer, which are two very different spectrums. Like they're going to share a bunch of things like a start menu, saving, game settings, just input, being able to say that like WASD is move, like all that kind of stuff can be generalized in a way that you can use it in different projects. Yeah, there was one point I had researched a bunch of different game engines. Let me see if I still have that open, actually. Because I looked up what were different game engines. I looked up, like what games use what game engine. So I knew like, oh, Undertale used this game engine and like other games use this game engine. Let me see if I can quickly find that. Oh, I think I found it. Okay. So yeah, so I looked into a bunch of ones at the time. And I have 5 here on the list that I found. Solaris, which was actually pretty close to what I wanted, but it was pretty new, and I always fear using like brand new technology is like, it could be great, but you could also get started on it and like the developer just gives up on it. It could be a flop. There could be bugs in it that they never fix. So I try and avoid new stuff like that. Unity is pretty common. You see a bunch of games with Unity. Yes, you were correct. Undertale was Game Maker Studio. If people are looking into it, so Game Maker Studio 2 costs money. Game Maker Studio 1 is free. So what I did is I downloaded Game Maker Studio 1 and played around with it and did a demo to make like a Zelda clone. Actually, I wasn't much of a fan of it. It didn't feel structured well, and that maybe that was just the tutorial I was following. Yeah, RPG Maker was on that. RPG Maker is fine for what it is, but I think we've talked about it. And then the last one I have on the list is called Easy RPG, which, from a brief look at it, my notes were, doesn't have much documentation, looks poorly made, and the graphics look bad. So. Yeah.
中に入る前にいくつか約束がありますです。ちゃんと誓ってくれないとダメなのです。
もちろんよ。開かずの細工殿をフルデ家当主が自ら開けてくれる金を犯すのだ。
Honestly, if Game Maker fixed those issues, and fix those issues of having like good base games for a bunch of stuff, and just had easier ways of editing, I feel like it has a bunch of stuff buried in different menus, and you need to like know, like, oh, if I'm adding like a new trigger on this thing, I have to like do this flow to get to it. If that was easier, I think it might be the best on the market for new people to get into. And then of course, if you're making visual novels like this, Renpai. It's Python based, and I'm not a fan of Python. I don't like Python's language, and if Sam Scissors are here, he would say for shame. It's pretty easy to do.
失礼ね。私はとても真面目よ。
Yeah, that kind of like everything's a note of something is one of the reasons I liked making it my own way. I like, as someone who's programmed for, how long have I been programming now? Over a decade, just over a decade. I have a way of structuring things I like. So if I'm making something, it's really easy for me to know, like, oh, I have this thing. It'll be located in this thing. I probably gave it this exact naming convention.
私もよ。高野の株価が世界恐慌で大暴落って感じ。
Ren said it before, it's not a good idea to think about problems all on your own. I always hated the crazy part of Takano, and I didn't want to be close to her, but I never thought she could act this way. She was almost acting like Rena does when she's in her cute mode. If I'd known she was as funny as a person as this, I wouldn't have felt resentment toward her. I realized how important communicating can be.
まず、細工殿へ入ったことは内緒なのですよ。誰にも教えてはいけませんです。
もちろんよ。誓うわ。
Takano put her hands to her chest. She also forced Tomitake to do the same. It was funny to watch Tomitake trying to keep up with Takano the two.
中はとても大切な場所ですから、怪我したり、傷つけたりし
With
ちゃダメなの
the
です。
roof going up, it kind of looks like it's giving him rabbit ears.
もちろん分かってるわ。 それで撮影は可能なの？
可能ですが、1枚100円なのですよ。
二郎さん、あなた今いくら持ってるかしら
1万円払うとお得な1日取り放題券になりますです。
安い。払うわ。二郎さん。
They paid me the money for real. Hanyu seemed excited knowing that the money could be used for buying desserts.
高野はとてもいい人なのです。あんたも現金ね。
I finally got approval from Oyashiro-sama, the master of the storehouse. I have no more problems now. Ritual storehouse is behind the building with the convention room. Sometimes people come out for a cigarette break. I can't let anybody see us entering.
大丈夫。誰もいないよ。
Mitake checked out the scene and gave me the signal to go ahead. I nodded at him and unlocked the door. I pushed open the heavy door just far enough for us to
富
sneak
武が
inside.
表で待っていると不審に思われますです。
え？僕も入るのかい？
Seemed surprised I was asking him to come inside with us. Mitake, of course, wasn't particularly interested in what was inside the storehouse. I expected his surprised reaction.
二郎さん、リカちゃんが入れって言ってるのよ。早く入って。
ああ、わかったよ。
Mitake squeezed inside as Takano urged him. I turned the light on and closed the door, and I put the chain on from inside.
厳重なのね。
錠前が外れていることに気づいた悪い猫さんが入ってくると困りますのです。
悪い猫さんで申し訳ないわね。
高野、猫は猫らしくニャーニャー鳴かないとダメなのですよ。ニパー。
それはどういうことかしら？
高野がちゃんと猫さんじゃないと見せてあげないのです。ちゃんと鈴付き首輪と猫耳も持ってきましたですよ。これをつけて四つん這いになってニャーニャー言ってくれなかったら次の扉を開けてあげませんです。
The shrine storehouse has 2 doors that people can't see when the first door is open. That moment, we're inside the entry chamber. The real storehouse is in the room beyond.
え？リカちゃんもきついな。いくらなんでもそんなの。
ええ、それが試練ならやるわ。これはリカちゃんが私の知的探求心がどれだけ一途で高貴か試しているのよ。いいわ。あなたが望むなら猫耳と尻尾付きで四つん這いになって前足で顔を洗いながらご主人様大好きだにゃーだって言ってみせる。
高野ってみんなと同じくらいの年だったらきっと部活メンバーに混じっていたと思いますのです。そうね。ほら、世界恐慌の時、ウォール街で紙切れになった株券が雪のように舞ったというじゃない。なんかそういう感じよ。高野の株。
さあさあリカちゃん、やり遂げてみせるわよ。猫耳と首輪だけでいいの？
高野さん、そもそもこの扉鍵なんかないよ。ほら、押せば開く。
そうなの？あら嫌だ。私ったらみっともない。
ち。
Mitake has no sense of humor. He just turned off a lot of viewers who were looking forward to seeing Takano in a cat outfit.
冗談はこのくらいにして押せば開きますのです。ニパー。
Once we went through the door, we found ourselves inside the storage area. There were no windows in there, so it was completely dark even during the day. There were several light bulbs hanging from the ceiling. They were dim. Their light only exaggerated the darkness inside. Oyashiro-sama's statue in the altar dominated the center of the room. They were surrounded by tons of ancient torture implements. They were all over the floor, the walls, and the ceiling. Looked like a torture room rather than just storage for tools intended for one.
これはすごいね。
Mutake was rendered speechless. They were nothing like those fake torture implements that they might have seen in a wax museum or someplace like that. Tools in this room are the genuine article. I never like to think about it, but I'm sure some of them really were used. So authentic tools always have a big impact on the people who see them. Tomotaku was the only one who was shocked, since he was the only normal person in the room. Kano's eyes were sparkling. She was taking pictures while meowing like a cat. This place isn't special to me. Of course I know I'm supposed to treat it as a holy place, but I'm so used to seeing all these things after coming here countless times since I was little. To me, it's nothing but a storehouse with a lot of old stuff inside. As for Hanyu, she says it's the only place the air from times past lingers in the present day, so she actually finds it comforting. I get in a good mood when I come here, because Hanyu gets in a good mood. This is a relaxing place for her. I watch Tomotake's reaction and notice how totally off my values are from normal people's. Takano's reaction seems more natural to me in a sense. Hanyu seems to be bothered by Tomotake's reaction too. Maybe it was a bad idea to let him come inside after all. Not like I could kick him out at this point. Hanyu and I sit on a cushion in front of the altar and watch Takano dance with childish glee while Tomotake made touching efforts to keep up.
どうしてこんなにもたくさんの拷問道具を作ったんだろうね。だって拷問というのは相手を屈服させるのが目的じゃないのかい？こんなにいくつもおびただしい数や種類がどうして必要だったんだろう。
二郎さん、拷問道具には2つの脅し方があるのを知ってるかしら？一つは使用して相手を痛めつけることで効果を発揮するもの。もう一つは使用するぞ、使用したらものすごい痛いぞと、そういう意味ではいろいろ物騒な拷問道具がたくさん取り揃えてある光景はそれだけで脅迫的意味を持つものだったのよ。
ね、確かに拷問というのは実は高度な技術が必要だというような話は程よく痛めつけてかつ殺さないというのは確かに加減が難しいことかもしれないね。
Mitake acted like he's having a conversation with Takano, but his voice was obviously
西
unsteady.
洋の拷問道具の中にはやたらと装飾型で実際に使用すれば痛めつける以前にあっさりと殺してしまいかねない。まあ拷問道具も厳密には屈服を目的とする被験者を対象にした純粋な拷問道具と見せしめや娯楽を目的とする観覧者を対象にした虐殺道具に分かれるんだけど、これを混同して誤解している人が多いのが嘆かわしいわね。
じゃあ昔の人たちは何を屈服させようとしていたんだい？
Mitake asked me that. I must have thought that Takano would say something far more scary if he asked her. He's forgetting that I'm just an innocent little girl.
私は鬼ヶ淵村の独自の戒律を厳重に守らせるためだったと思ってるんだけど、正解？
正解なのです。これらの細具は実際に使用するためでなく、むしろ展示して村人を怖がらせて戒律を遵守させることを主眼に置いたものだと言われてますです。だから実際にこれらの道具を使う時になってサイズが合わなかったり構造的に欠陥があったりで満足に使用できなかったという話も結構残っていますのです。
でも実際に使用することもあったんだろう？やっぱり穏便な話じゃないね。
戒律を守らないとお社様のたたりがあるだけではおとなしくルールに従ってくれない人たちもたまにはいたということなのです。
ねえリカちゃん、ではこれらの道具は基本的に村人を威圧するために用意されているのかしら？ 本当の意味での綿流しの時、食人の宴に使った調理解体道具だっていう説があるんだけど。
Honey was making a frustrated face. She didn't want to remember the dark history of Onigafuchi village. People performed countless torture ceremonies in front of her, claiming that they were doing it in her name, the name of Oyashiro-sama. She asked them not to do that, but no one was able to hear or see her.
ノーコメントなのですよ、ニパー。
高野さんによく僕も聞かされるよ。大昔の鬼ヶ淵村の人たちは、神様のお告げがあると麓に降りて人をさらって食べてしまったんだろう。どうしてそんなことをしたんだろう。これもまた麓の人々に対する何かの見せしめなのかい？
私はそこはおそらく食物連鎖で人間よりも優位にあることを自覚するためにやった一種の儀式だと思っているわ。鬼ヶ淵村が外部との交流を禁ずる最大の建前が、自分たちは仙人で村は聖地。汚らわしい人間と交流すると汚れを持ち込む、そういうふうに言われてた。だから定期的に自分たちは人間以上の存在であることを自覚し直す必要があったんじゃないかしら。
日本にも晒し首があったしね。見せしめは非人道的ではあるけど、抑止効果は極めて大だったというわけだ。
見せしめの犠牲者がひどい方法で拷問されて絶命する、そんなのを見せつけられたら絶対に自分はああされたくないって誰もが思うわよね。日本には晒し首だけでなく貼り付けだってあったでしょ。処刑場に高々と死刑囚を貼り付けにして観衆の前で恥ずかしめられながら長槍でブスブスと刺されるのよ。二郎さんもわかると思うけど、槍でほんの一月二月された程度じゃ人は絶命なんてできない。腹部や胸部を貫かれればそれは十分に致死的なことではあるけれど、ギロチンなんかのようにきれいさっぱり死ねるわけじゃないのよ。血がブクブクとあふれ出し、腹からは腸を引きずり出されて肺に血がたまり、最後には自らの血で溺れ死ぬそんな緩慢な死を思えばギロチンなんて人道的な発明よね。そうそう、ギロチンってね、貴族のために生み出されたんですってよ。銃殺や絞首刑よりももっともっときれいにあっさりすっぱりと死ねるように生み出した死の際まで特別扱いしてもらえる貴族のための処刑道具。フランス革命末期の恋愛を描いたなんとか物語っていう白黒映画があるんだけど、
You sound like you'd be great on a first date. Hey honey, what was the best part of that love story? Well, the part where they chopped his head off?
観衆の嘲笑を浴びながら数珠つなぎの貴族たちが一列に並ばされて次々と一台のギロチンで処刑されていくの。ちょん、はい次ちょん、はい次ちょん。人間の死がわずか一瞬でベルトコンベヤーの上の工場生産のように量産されていく。神父のお祈りも最後に言い残す言葉も何もなしよ。ちょん、はい次ちょんもうそんな一瞬の死じゃ見せ物にならないからね。誰も個人の死に感情を抱かない。観衆は一人の死を見てるんじゃなくて何十人もの貴族が長ネギをスライサーで削っていくみたいに手際よくちょんちょんちょんと跳ねていく。
You've heard of romantic comedy? This is romantic capital punishment.
をショーとして面白がるわけ。それに比べたら一人の人間をじっくりいじめ殺す方がよっぽど個人を尊重しているとは思わないそんな濃密な死と拷問で飾り立てられたのがこのお社様という存在なわけ。
Kana raises her hand to honor the statue of Oyashiro-sama.
お社様という存在は結局人間が生み出した偶像なの。 その偶像は恐怖で祭り上げられることで神聖化した。そう。人が法則や戒律で石垣を組み上げ、呪いやたたり、奇跡や恐怖の漆喰でそれを固める。それらを積み上げて積み上げて、雲の上にまで届く高みを作り、その上に建てられるのが神という存在なの。神は人が欲するゆえに人が生んだ人の手による存在。つまり、人が人を恐怖で支配しようと思った時に生まれる。それがここではお社様という存在になるのよ。つまり、神の世界へ至る階段は神ではなく人の手で作られていたことの証左であり、私たち人間をさらなる高みへ誘う指針を示して。
Her passionate lecture was interrupted by a loud noise. I looked back. Honey was jumping up and down with her eyes full of tears. Thud. She was stomping the floor as hard as she could, making a loud noise instead of screaming out with her unheard voice. However, it all amounted to the same thing. Honey cannot be heard by people.
羽生、僕は人が死んだりとかいじめられたりとか、そんなのは嫌なのです。みんなで一緒に仲良く楽しく暮らしてくれればいいのです。もちろん僕たちが悪いところもいっぱいありますです。でもそんなのを望んだことなんて一度もないのです。羽生は羽生よ。お社様なんてあなたとは関係のないことでしょう。違うのです。違うのです。高野は嫌いです。嫌いなのです。いつも僕のことをひどく言いますのです。ひどく言いますのです。言いますのです。
Was it a bad idea for me to bring Takano in here? I knew that Takano would get overstimulated and say something like this. Fortunately, Hanyu's rejection indirectly reached Takano and she stopped lecturing. Somehow, Tomitake had heard the noise that Hanyu made. He pressed his finger in front of his lips and told Takano to be quiet.
何事なの？
さっき子供が遠くで飛び跳ねるような音が聞こえたんだよ。この建物の周りで子供が遊んでいるのかもしれない。
そう？私には何の気配も感じないけれど。
いや、確かに聞こえたよ。高野さん、ここへはお忍びで入れてもらってるんだ。リカちゃんの立場にも配慮して、もう少し静かに見学しないと悪いよ。
Takano seemed disappointed, but Tomitake was right. She had no choice but to be quiet.
富竹、周りに子供なんていませんですよ。
そうかい？リカちゃんには聞こえなかったかい？僕は確かに飛び跳ねるような音を聞いたんだけどな。
もちろん、僕も聞きましたですよ。遠くではなく、僕のすぐ後ろで、ドタンドタン跳ねていましたです。富竹には遠くに聞こえたでしょうが、僕にはすぐ後ろだったので、うるさいくらいでしたですよ。
I was standing in front of the altar, and the statue of Oyashiro-sama was right behind me. Tomitake seemed freaked out after hearing what I just told him. Although he was trying to fake a smile, his face was turning pale. However, Takano didn't seem scared at all.
西宮殿の中で、お社様を怒らせるようなことを言うのは禁止なのです。お社様がとても怒っていますのです。その声が聞こえませんか？
It's fortunate that she can't, to be honest. Even if she heard it, it would be nothing but tears. The job as a shrine maiden to begin with is to tell humans what Oyashiro-sama is feeling. I'm responsible for speaking on Hanyu's behalf. Takano must have realized that I was very serious about what I just said. She apologized to me right away.
ごめんなさい。いささか調子に乗りすぎたわ。お社様も。
Yeah, no worries. Like, literally, I think as soon as we're done inside this place, I think we're gonna call it.
たとえ私が崇めなくても、神聖は侵されない。
It just felt like a bad place to call it, right in the middle of torture room.
面白半分に冒涜したことを謝るわ。
お社様は甘いものが大好きなのです。僕を経由してお供えしないとたたりがありますですよ。
Ah, yes, now we're extorting ice cream. Tomitaki couldn't help but smile. Takano also smiled. She bowed to me, promising to bring over some cream puffs soon. Takano finally stopped saying bad things about Oishiro-sama. She also promised to bring me something sweet. Ani was still upset. She was probably satisfied for the moment. But I didn't know what she meant by the 3 fingers she was showing to me. Was she telling me to ask Takano for that too? Being her shrine maiden is not an easy thing.
お社様はシュークリームは最低でも3つ欲しいと言ってますですよ。
Torture Chaos, just tell him that this is being said on the news. I've got 2 balls and 2 more in my hand.
僕が食べたいわけではないので誤解しないでほしいのです。
They took it as a joke I made to reduce the tension. Tomitaki and Takano cracked up, holding their stomachs. Ani was looking at them with surprise, not knowing why they were laughing. My face, meanwhile, was turning red with embarrassment.
お社様のために美味しいシュークリームを3つ買ってくるわね。リカちゃんやさとこちゃんの分もいくつか買った方がいいのかしら？
いえ、僕の分はいいのです。その代わり、どうしても聞いてもらいたい話がありますのです。
何かしら？今日は西宮殿に入れてもらえるというわがままを聞いてもらえたんだから、それに見合うわがままには答えるつもりよ。
僕が今から話すことを絶対に信じてほしいのです。どうしてとか、そんなバカなとかはなしなのです。だから絶対に信じて運命に打ち勝って私を助けてほしいのです。
Both of them were surprised to see such a serious look on my face. I was sure they'd be surprised. After all, I was about to explain to them that they were going to die in 2 days. I'm sure they'd want to deny that. I knew a fair bit about their deaths. If I could explain it to them in detail, they wouldn't be able to laugh it off. I'd talked to them about it several times in previous lives, but they never took it seriously. I only had that slight possibility that they might believe me. Hopefully, the possibility is as small as a miracle. It should be engraved on the side of a die. My friends overcame their fates, and they all rolled a 6. Should I call that a miracle? Please, God, let me roll a 6 again. Please let them believe that death is upon them. And I think that's as good a place as any for us to stop for tonight.